Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi here Saturday morning, and the Raptors beat the Charlotte Hornets last night, and we'll be reacting to that game today. And also, today is the last day of the G League season for the Raptors 905. So, in some ways, I want to do some justice to them since they're playing their last game today, and I have a preview for that game, and just to talk in general a little bit about them. We got all the other stuff. We got the latest. We got the the latest Canadian product I want to present to you guys. We got the Instagram stories. We got the classic card. So stay tuned. Raptor Freak channel. Let's go. Bam. Yeah. 3-game winning streak last night for the Raptors beating the Charlotte Hornets. This is the fourth 3-game winning streak of this season. Last year, it was a big deal about winning 3 games. They made this thing up called Darko Dinner. Everybody got carried away with thinking it was a sorry ass pizza party. No, Darko Dinner was always about steak. And now, by my count, the Raptors have gotten steak 4 times this season because we have 4 different 3-game winning streaks now. 2 of them in this month at this point. So as of last night, because they won 3 in a row, if it was the old rules from the first year of Darko, they deserve dinner again last night, which is awesome. You know, they only accomplished this feat of winning 3 in a row once last season. It was really like that for them the whole entire year. It's weird because this year there's been a lot of sections of the season where they had really bad losing streaks and lost a lot. Last year they had little wins interspersed here and there, and there was never the ability to streak. It was kind of like win one, lose one, win one, lose one, lose one, lose one, win one, win one, lose one, kind of stuff. But this year, there's been solid periods of time where the Raptors have won consecutively. And it was interesting. I'm looking at the whole schedule for the season, and we're going to wrap up the month of March today, or no, tomorrow when we play Philadelphia, and that'll be the last game of this month. But there's been like each month of the season a different win total. Like obviously in October we just start the season. There weren't a lot of games. We won 1 game in October this year, but then we won like 2 games in February, and we won 3 games, or no, 2 games in December, 3 games in February, 4 games in November, and then 8 games in January, and 9 games in March. So that's where we got our 27 wins so far this year. 9 of them in this month of March, which is fantastic. Tank artists would be pissed off, but whatever. January, a great month, 8 wins, both winning months for the Raptors in this difficult season. But the other months, 2 wins in December, 3 wins in February. Yeah, it's just like that. Sometimes it's just like that. And, we've had good streaks lately. It's awesome. So, yeah, let me real quick do a little preview for the Delaware Bluecoats game today. And then we'll get into the reacting for the game last night more in depth. So the Raptors 905 are playing their last game of the season today against the Delaware Bluecoats, which is the Philadelphia 76ers G League team. They will be playing in Delaware. It is an away game, and both teams have the same exact record right now, 13-20. So I want to say this right now, Andrew Jones, Eugene Omarui, Jared Roden, this is your championship today. And it's you and Philly. Yeah, Philadelphia, Toronto. Let's go. Our G League teams. And you know what? Our records are the same. Might as well wipe them clean and just say this is all for one for all. This is a championship game in our own minds, 13-20 teams in the G League. And that's what I want them to take this upon. The Bluecoats have not been good this year. They've had ups and downs. They've had problems, just like us. And, well, this is all for one for all. Let's do it today and win out. Let's win on the last day, 905. That's right. I'm repping y'all. I got the 905 socks on even. That's right. I'm repping 905 today on their last game of the season. And I want them to beat Delaware Bluecoats because it's all or nothing. What is there to play for after this? So make this your championship game. 2 13-20 teams facing off. Now the Bluecoats have in their lineup, of course, Jeffrey Doughton Jr. has been on their team for a couple years since he left the 905 and went to Nick Nurse's team. They've also got Jared Brownridge, Jaron Cumberland, Thierry Darfan, Jordan Hood Shafino, who has been playing for them, Justin Lewis, Patrick McCaw, the Raptors legend, is still playing for Delaware Bluecoats. The brother of Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley, plays for them. Judah Mintz, Aminu Mohammed, Alex Reese, and Robert Woodard is their lineup for the most part. So, yeah, Jeffrey Doughton, Patrick McCaw. Yeah, former Raptors that are on the Bluecoats that we'll probably see today. But I feel good. I mean, we'll see. Our guys have been real close in some of the games. They just run out of juice. Maybe the Bluecoats will be wary and weird because the Sixers organization's just weary and weird right now. We'll have to see. It's their last game of the season also. Hopefully we can beat them. The referees for today's game, which is at 6 p.m. Eastern, guys, just so you know, if you want to watch the last Raptors 905 game, I'll be on YouTube in the chat if you want to talk to me there. Pat O'Connell is the crew chief, number 73. Cameron Garber will be the referee, number 33. And the umpire will be AJ Ganelli, number 62. The last game of the season for Raptors 905. Yeah, and I'll have a nice season recap on the Raptors 905 coming in the next week or so. Coming up at some point, I'll do something on the Raptors 905 to show you guys kind of what happened, a synopsis of their different parts of their season, whether it's the Showcase Cup first part or the G League regular season that we just played. We're finishing up today. That's right. So, yeah, let's see what's going on in the chat. We'll start with Trevor J., the commissioner of fun. And, yeah, we got the stars of the game, all that stuff coming up. Trevor's saying life isn't being rich, being popular, being highly educated, or being perfect. It is about being real, being humble, and being kind. We are watching what this – okay, yeah, all right. That's not the word of wisdom next. So, all right. I like what you're saying. What's really important in the world today, in some ways that's going out the window, is values. And, there's a lot of people that will blame different things like media and movies and TVs and video games for decreasing values in this world. Maybe people going further away from faith, whether it's organized religion or just being spiritual people, losing connection to the natural world and not really being true to our natural selves as organisms on this planet, and forget about commodities or just human beings that do things in the made up society that we live in. It's crazy. I agree. Life isn't about being rich. It's not about being popular. It's not about achievements and all this stuff. It's about being real and just being authentic and being humble and being vulnerable and being yourself in all perfections and imperfections. Because none of us are perfect. We make mistakes and we got to live with them. Yep. We got to live with them. All right. Trevor's also saying we are watching what this team will be next season and players flourishing right in front of all eyes. Yeah, it was awesome. We saw a lot of really crucial minutes once again with the J-Rooks. In fact, they closed the game out with Orlando Robinson. And I love seeing that because, honestly, Jamal Shed is getting so much from these games right now. And, in fact, it's really awesome because we get a chance to see him succeed in what he's doing, which is awesome. And, he's really grown so much this season. One of the things that Jamal did last night that I was really impressed with was his three-point shot was not going in last night. In fact, in his postseason press conference, post-game press conference, he said, I actually don't think I played that good tonight. I shot bad. And he did from outside. But as soon as he took a couple threes early in the game and saw that they weren't going in, did he continue to jack them up just unconsciously? No. He started to deduce that there were lanes that he could go down towards the basket, and he started really smartly executing layups and close to the basket shots. And in some ways, he was showing a really high level of skill because he was doing it around bigger defenders. And, that's something that I was really impressed with. In some ways, he may not always make his three-point shots, But if he can go inside and make his layups and his little mid-range lane shots like he does, like he did last night, he's gonna be fine because that's the thing that can jumpstart your outside. And it did. He made a couple. He made at least one three later. When he didn't make them in the beginning, he went inside, and that was smart. That was really, really smart. And man, there was a lot of good stuff from all the J-Rooks yesterday, for sure. All the J-Rooks yesterday. So yeah, we're going to do the stars of the game. We'll talk about more about them, and also the fantastic excellence of Scottie, Emmanuel, and Jakob, who were top notch as leaders and starters on this team once again last night, just playing at a very high level, very, very high level. Let's see. Trevor saying the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins and two other assistant coaches. They are saying that Jenkins lost the locker room. This is such a weird story. When this broke yesterday, I was shocked. Like some people said that this is just as shocking as Luka getting traded to the Lakers. The firing of Taylor Jenkins is crazy. Darko had a really interesting way of putting it before the game yesterday when they talked to him about it. He says, in Europe, we have two types of coaches that are fired and coaches that will be fired. There's no other thing. I mean, it kind of seems true. It's very rare when a coach gets to go off in the sunset without being dismissed somehow or some way. That's very rare. Somebody like Greg Popovich, it's a stroke, and that may end his career. And it's not that he got fired or anything like that, but most coaches will get fired from their jobs in the NBA. And well, Taylor Jenkins, that threw me for a loop because honestly, I feel like the Grizzlies were one of the better teams I've seen this year. They're currently fourth in the playoffs in the Western Conference. They've been winning more than they've been losing. In some ways, this smacked of like the firing of Adrian Griffin the year before and Doc Rivers coming in to take over. It just doesn't seem fair. The man's been there for 6 years and he's been building something. And it shows that it really does matter that you have to have your players complete belief in you, because this is where the word is, and the rumors right now are coming out that John Morant was not happy with him. And I don't know if this is exactly true. This is rumor shit, and you can't say that this is definitively right. But the rumor is that Ja did not like the way he ran the offense, and that he wanted to do things differently. Now, Grizzly fans are kind of pissed because they're like, Ja, you're always hurt. You're always suspended. Who the fuck are you to decide who coaches us? Because you're a half-timer. You're barely here. And they're kind of mad about this. A lot of the Grizzlies fans feel like Taylor Jenkins has done a very good job over the 6 years he's been their coach. And I would agree. I mean, that's why I was like shocked, because I honestly thought that out of all the coaches in the league, he was one of the ones that was doing the best job, honestly. And, obviously that wasn't true, even with all the success. Now, the Grizzlies are stupid. Why did they do this? Even if they kowtowed to Ja Morant, that was dumb, because they're on the home stretch of the season and the playoffs are less than a month away. And, all right, they didn't bring in somebody new like Doc Rivers with the Bucks, but they hired a guy from within, a European coach that's won Euro titles. And I don't know. That's not going to fix this. Obviously, like, look, I've never, ever agreed with firing a coach for a player. I've never, ever agreed with this. In some ways, the NBA has put more power in the players because of how much they get paid. And sometimes those franchise players have so much power, they can get coaches fired real quick. But this is stupid. Even if Ja Morant was the one who initiated the firing of Taylor Jenkins or wanted it, you're a dumbass, Ja Morant. This just shows how low IQ and dumb you are. That you're going to put your team, which has worked towards something all season long, that's actually on path to do something in the postseason, to have to scramble and like fix this up at the last minute. I mean, it's not ideal. You guys should, at this stage of the season, not be trying to figure out how to work under a new coach with the playoffs so soon. It's so stupid. But it makes me wonder, why the hell was it so bad that they had to do it right now? Seriously, y'all couldn't wait until the end of the season? Y'all couldn't wait and let Jenkins play the entirety of the season and see where he gets you in the playoffs? And then if it's really that bad, you fire him then? No, something had to be that bad right now, unbroken and unfixable, that he had to be dismissed now, which is not a good time. If I was a Grizzlies fan, I would be questioning the management for making this decision so rashly. All of a sudden, I'd be questioning: is this some Ma Adoka shit? Is this something where some things are just irrevocably broken and that they cannot be fixed or they cannot be looked past to continue to go forward in the present moment? Because this is really not good timing. And from the outside, it looks like the stupidest move I've ever seen in some ways with the coach's firing. At least with Griffin, this happened in the middle of season. And there was more time to get things established. This is really late in the season right now. And it makes no sense at all to me whatsoever. I wonder if our guy, our coach, being on our team, would have helped Taylor not have this problem because he is a people person. And in some ways, if there was dissension growing on the Grizzlies team with players not totally seeing the same vision as the coach, maybe Darko would have smoothed that over and been the politician in the middle of it to help protect his head coach, Taylor Jenkins. We can only speculate that. We are very pleased and happy to have Coach Rajakovic as our head coach here in Toronto. But yeah, this is a crazy news. This is one of the most shocking stories of the year. I don't agree with it on the principle of strategy and smarts for your playoff run. I think this is one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen by a team. Even if he must have done something really, really to a point where nothing can be fixed, because this doesn't make any sense at all to me. Some Grizzly fans are saying it's because of Zach Edey, guys, that he just didn't use Zach correctly, and they could see it from the outside, and they were kind of upset with him already. Some in-depth Grizzly fans, like Grizzly Freak, he may have been saying some stuff that makes more sense for why this happened. But I don't know. I'm not on the ground looking at the Grizzlies every day like I do with Toronto. And I have no idea exactly how this came to this point, but it is shocking. It is very much one of the most shocking stories of the season, along with Luka going to the Lakers. Taylor Jenkins fired out of the blue. Like, it's so, like, I thought it was a weird rumor. I didn't think it was real news because it didn't make sense to me. And it's like, where is this coming from? Just out of the blue. Taylor Jenkins fired, along with 2 assistant coaches yesterday. I don't know. Grizzlies, you're idiots, honestly. I've told you guys we should be very fortunate and lucky that we have people in charge like Bobby and Masai, and these other teams, they make all kinds of chaotic, stupid moves like the Bucks, like the Grizzlies now with this decision is crazy. It's crazy. It must have been really bad. Even with Nick, with his last year and the incident that happened with him and Earl Watson around Christmas, we still let them continue to do the rest of the season. Even if everything was kind of broken on the down low behind the scenes, Masai and Bobby didn't fire them on the spot. They waited till the end of the year. And what happened with them was irreparable at that time also. But they couldn't even go through the motions in Memphis to let this guy try and finish the season. Something's really crazy. And I don't know if we'll ever know the exact details, because it could very well be like the Raptors situation the last year of Nick Nurse, that there's just some weird behind the scenes shit that's not really privy to public eyes or knowledge, that it's locker room stuff that nobody should ever know. And that may be what this is also. It's not like I doubt that he did something like Adoka did. I mean, look at Taylor Jenkins. Come on now. It's not like he's a playboy. I'm just saying. It's like that was one of the things that came to me. Is like, wow, I wonder if he did an MA. Like, did he sleep with somebody or something like that? It's like, because this is just so random and out of the blue. And that situation with Boston, where they were saying, yeah, we cannot continue with him no matter what. We'd like to, but we can't. I get those vibes from this. It's like, we'd like to continue with Taylor Jenkins, but we cannot, because something is destroyed or broken that cannot be repaired. It's crazy. So crazy. It's so out of the left field. And I did want to talk about this extensively today because it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Even it must be something really broken, or John Morant hardline or something like that happened. I don't necessarily believe it's John Morant, by the way. That's just a rumor. And this is often the case when a coach gets fired. A lot of people want to point fingers and say, who's the person who had the problem with him? And logically, they go to the top person. And this happened with Griffin, too. A lot of people said it was Giannis, but I don't know if it exactly was Giannis with Milwaukee. So they've officially said in Milwaukee it was the ownership that decided it. But, I don't know. I don't know. And the rumor is that he lost the locker room, Taylor Jenkins. Maybe he did. I mean, they played the Thunder a couple nights ago, and they got beat by about 20. And in some ways, if they're gauging the Grizzlies franchise versus the Thunder franchise, I can see where in some ways they don't like what he did compared to what they've done in Oklahoma City and their success and what they're doing. He's not getting there. But you can really blame Morant for this. Morant has hurt the development of the Grizzlies because of suspension and injury and him just not being present and available, you know? That's why some Memphis fans are like, fuck Ja Morant. You haven't even been here. And y'all just fired a really good coach we've had for 6 years building something. One of the things they're saying is that the Grizzlies team did not see a promising future with his offensive system, that they felt like his offensive system didn't have merit or possibility of being a winning style that could get them a championship. And that's something, whenever I see problems with other teams, I like to gauge, well, is this an issue for us? And I'm like, no, because it's very, very apparent that Darko's system and vision and the way he's running and building things here in Toronto is very bought in by his players, especially Scottie. And they're seeing results in it on a regular basis in games like last night. That's something that Yaka brought up last night in his post-game interview. It's very interesting. Pirtle was gushing about Darko. They brought up he brought up, how's it been playing for Darko? What is he like as a coach? He said, "Oh man, this guy is amazing. He really loves basketball. He really knows basketball very, very well, and I'm excited to work for him. He has such good ideas." And then he said he's also a really good person. Like he's just really cares and he really shows that he's involved in our lives. He's just really hard worker. He just went on and on about all these different things about Darko, and it makes you realize that Darko doesn't just look at the job as creating a team vision of play and style with the play sets and the play calls to get to the future. It's also keeping people on track mentally and within the whole group as far as seeing the vision collectively together and nobody going off as a stray little sheep and not understanding what the flock is doing. And that's really good and powerful. Yeah, Yak had some really amazing things to say about Darko yesterday. Now there's some odds out for Taylor Jenkins because he will get hired by somebody else right away. And that's what Darko said when they asked him about it. He's like, "I'm not worried about Taylor. He's a very good coach. He's gonna find another job, and he will. He will." The Spurs fans already want him to come and coach San Antonio next year instead of Mitch Johnson. If Nick Nurse is out all of a sudden, he could be coaching Philly next year. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of places where Taylor Jenkins could show up, and much like Nick Nurse, he's a successful coach that will be sought after Memphis. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with all that. It's shocking. When that news came out yesterday, I was just like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense at all. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever about Taylor. Yeah, Trevor's saying that Detroit beat Cleveland last night. That's good. Cleveland has been such a dominating team this year. And at the end of the year, if Detroit's going to have to mess around with them in the playoffs, they better get a win against them in the regular season and show that they can beat them. In fact, this is all the more impressive because I've heard Cunningham's out right now. Cade is not playing right now, and the Pistons beat them without Cade. So that's a big deal right there, what you're bringing up right there. And I'm very happy for the Pistons. I like that team a lot. In fact, I'm rooting for them just like I'm rooting for the Pacers right now. Those are my two Eastern teams. So Detroit, make some noise, man. Go do some stuff for the Detroit community and the Pistons fans that have languished for so long. Yeah. Trevor's saying Raptors have the number one ranked defense since the All-Star break. Yeah. They came out with the latest Kurt Goldenberry efficiency landscape. And I'm looking at it right now in my screen. The Raptors are at the top of the chart and that signifies that they have the best defensive efficiency. Now they're pretty far to the left, which means their offense is not the best, but they are ranked number one defense in the last 10 games of the season on the efficiency landscape put out by Kirk Goldsberry, put out every 10 days. And I love seeing that they're up there. It's funny because these teams we're playing right now are down in this little corner, which is called the flag curious is what they're calling it. Flag curious. We're not in that area, by the way. We're not in the flag curious. But really close to the tank and Cooper Flag's face are teams like the Jazz, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pelicans, the Sixers, and the Kings are even down near there. I don't understand that. Yeah, but these graphs are so awesome. They're very informative, and they kind of do show you where teams are performing in recent times. And I love to see the Raptors at the top of the chart for defense. They got a lot of room to go on offense, though. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, it's interesting. We're not like the other tank teams. They are way down there in futility with no defense, and we have a better defense than them, which is fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, let's see. DK saying that, yay, 27-game win streak continues. I love that we got 27 wins. 3-game win streak, 27 wins for the season. We'll get to 30, I'm pretty sure. We have 8 more games to go. We'll get to 30 wins this year, which is fantastic. A lot of naysayers and haters that had no idea that we'd be able to do this. And, people, they were saying, oh, this and that. I knew we would do well at the end of the season, and I knew that there would be this friction between people that want us to lose on purpose right now, because I knew we'd be at the bottom and people are going to be worried about ping pong balls. I knew we would. Yeah. Nako's here. Buy at the farmer's market. Best way to support local. I agree with this. If you guys know of any farmers markets that go on in your area, definitely go there to buy stuff. And the great thing is, not only are you buying local, which keeps the money in your community, you're buying fresh. And that food may be way better than anything you could buy at the grocery store, because, people that grow stuff on their own, you got to realize a lot of the food that's in grocery stores is mass produced. And there's a lot of corners cut with pesticides and, different things that they use to cut costs for food production. But if you buy from a local farmer, it's more likely that they're more organic and it's more like naturally done. And that's fantastic. So my product today, guys, is from some brothers who live in Aurora, Ontario. They're originally from there, not far from where I live now. And they are the Neal brothers. That's right. You may have seen this product name in your stores before. Neal brothers is a couple guys who started out making croutons. They're actual brothers, and they've had their company for about 35 years. They're completely in Canada. They do not sell their products in any other countries. But I have to say, some of their products are manufactured in the United States, and I wouldn't recommend buying those in their product line. But everything that is a sauce, like this pasta sauce I'm holding right here, there's salsa, there's hot sauce by Neal Brothers. If it's anything sauce, it's 100% Canadian. And this is a Tuscan vegetables pasta sauce I'm going to use on some gluten-free pasta when I cook the pasta next. And this is better than Classico. It's better than Ragu. These are American companies from big corporations at this point. And this is a small business owned by Canadians here in Ontario, and you could support it. And they've actually got a pretty good following. You can find their product in Loblaws and other big grocery stores along with the little ones. But like I said, the one distinction I will make about Neal Brothers is that if you buy any of their snack chips, anything like that, that's all been manufactured and paid for and built in the States. So you're not boycotting the States if you buy Neal Brothers packaged snacks. But if you do buy the sauces, that is completely 100% Canadian. So buy salsa from Neal Brothers, buy pasta sauce from Neal Brothers, and buy hot sauce from Neal Brothers at your local places. A great Canadian company owned by Canadian brothers from Aurora, Ontario, Canada. So that is my object of the day, or my product of the day, to encourage buying Canadian and avoiding American products. Of course, avoid all the big corporate American fast food companies. Avoid all that bullshit. Avoid Starbucks. Avoid all of it. If you need coffee, go to Jimmy's Coffee. That's Canadian. Or Second Cup. Yeah, you can make a difference every single day with how you spend your money. and they're feeling it already down there. And the thing is, we're going to cause more pressure on their politicians down there, the really evil ones that are in charge right now, from the inside, because the companies that make stuff that want to sell stuff up here are hurting because of it. And that's how we can pressure change in our own pocketbooks, by buying Canadian right now and putting some pressure on the people down south to change their policies and change their ways, because big corporations are not happy because they're losing money. That's how it works. There's a lot of Canadians in this country that have blindly bought American products, just as not even thinking about it. We've been giving them money for no reason for a long, long time, just unconsciously. We don't have to do this. We can buy our own stuff here and help our own country, and stop subsidizing American corporations by buying Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Starbucks, all that bullshit. You really can make a difference. And if you don't want to make some sacrifices, I understand. Have your guilty pleasures. But more and more of the changes and switches over that you can do, it all adds up. Trust me. And they will feel it. And when they feel it, then they'll get angry and they'll start overthrowing their government, because they need to. They need to right now. Seriously, overthrow their government right now. Neil Brothers, great brothers from Aurora, Ontario. Buy their sauces. I do not endorse their snack products, though, because they are manufactured in the States, just so you all know. Giving you the straight goods on the Canadian goods. That might be my saying, my catchphrase for that segment. Giving you straight goods on Canadian goods. You like that? That's pretty good. I like that. That's pretty good. Dunk for Trevor. All right, we'll give a dunk for Trevor, Isaac. And you wanted me to get a dunk for a Kensington Variety VIP Club episode the other day. I saw that. You wrote in dunk in the comment. I didn't add it yet, so I'll do it right now. We're going to give a dunk to Trevor J. First of all, he's at 48. All right, Eddie Murphy. 48. Y'all be cool. All right, there you go. Let's see. And to me, do I even have any dunks this year? I don't know if I've been very nice to myself this year. I do have a couple. I'm going to have my third dunk for the year. So I'm at 9 points on the dunk charts with my third dunk of the year. Good stuff. G saying Yak has taken a leap, and it's impressive. Yeah. I really like one of the things he was talking about after the game is like the pick and roll action with Scottie, and how fun that is. Like, he really enjoys doing the pick and roll action with him and IQ. And they did a lot of it last night. In fact, the work between Barnes and Pirtle was exemplary last night. You see the connection between those guys. And I knew this. I said this right when Jakobs showed up back in the trade with the Raptors. I said, Scottie's going to love playing with Jakob. He's going to love playing with Jakob. And I knew one of the reasons why was because he's so big and he'll help with defense and toughness and rebounding. But there's a whole other world of why Scott loves playing with Jakob. And that has to do with the chemistry of playing off each other and the give and go, the pick and roll, the fact that Scottie at one point just threw the ball at the backboard and knew Jakob would collect it first and put it back in to make it. That's such a luxury. The man is so good right now. Honestly, like, you know, just because Jakob doesn't shoot threes and make threes regularly, he did make one, though. A lot of people discount him, but he is one of the most underrated best players in the NBA right now. He really is. He has that kind of impact. And the stats show, because Jakob's plus minus, the numbers with plus minus when he's on and off the court this season are insanely skewed and totally tell the story of exactly how important he is to us winning. He really is. Like, okay, with Jakobs in the lineup, we're probably going to win. If Jakob's not in the lineup, we're going to have a hard time to win. And that's kind of been the case since he's returned to the Raptors for this stint. It really has been kind of that case. I love also in the post-game interview, Pirtle talking about how he's really enjoying watching Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo, and Jamison battle as a collective, as a group, as a young rookie group. And he says it's nostalgic to him because it reminds him of his rookie group that he started with Fred and Pascal and Norman and DeLon. And that's special. And in some ways, it's cool to see he got a little sad about it, though, because, you know, it was really special when you're a young player and you get those kind of bonds and you have so much fun hanging around off the court because you're so young and it's all so new. When you get older in the NBA, you kind of go off in separate kind of things. Even when returned and he was around Siakam again for a year before Siakam got traded, they never really had the same kind of chemistry and connection and fun that they did when they were rookies. And that's partly maturing and growing up. And Siakam got a big bag, and Pirtle was gone for 5 years, and then he came back, and it's tough because it's not the same. It's not the same as when they were rookies and with Fred and what they were doing between the G League and the Raptors at that time on the bench mob. And in some ways, you can't recapture that. So enjoy this, Jacoby. Enjoy this, Jamal. Enjoy this, Jonathan Mobo and Jameson battle, because these feelings, they won't be there forever. And unfortunately, y'all won't all be together forever either, because this is the NBA. It's a business. And Jakob Pertl can tell you that. And he say, y'all enjoy this. Soak this up as much as possible right now, because it's not forever. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, Yak is my number one star of the game last night. He's just too efficient. I cannot deny him the number one star of the game. 12 for 14 last night. 12 for 14. And those misses were early, like right away. And then he didn't miss anything for the rest of the game. Yeah, I was like kind of thinking, oh man, Yak's having an off night, because he did shoot short and a couple of shots in the first quarter, but then he was perfect for the rest of the game. 12 of 14. He's so good at cleaning up little kind of not totally smooth passes to him. Some of this stuff gets thrown to him as a little trashy, but he's just so good with his hands and his ability to get to something that he makes up for it and cleans up the little bit of a tiny like possibility for a problem. He makes up for it. And I love that. I love that. He was 0 for 1 at the free throw line. He had 12 rebounds, offensive, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 turnover, +9 with 24 points. Now he had 20 and 10 in 20 minutes. And that was astounding. The announce crew and the Twitter heads, Josh Bloomberg and everybody commenting on that right when it happened, saying that, yeah, Jakob Pertl getting 20 points and 10 rebounds in 20 minutes of play is an accomplishment. He's a badass. And another stat that was out by Keeks of TSN last night, which was pretty awesome to see, is that Yak has more 20-10 games this season, like 9 of them. And like before that, he had like maybe, I don't know, like 8 in his whole entire career. So it is really true. The statement of the comment that led me here is that Pirtle has developed and had his best season ever as a pro this year. And the numbers are in there. In some ways, it's interesting him playing every other game, because in some ways he's more concentrated to come in and do a game like last night, because he didn't play in the game, the last game against Brooklyn. So it's like we obviously probably won't see him against Philadelphia tomorrow. And it'll be RJ back with Oshai, and Emmanuel and Yak will probably be out again on Sunday. So we'll have to see. But Yak was amazing. 24 and 12. Fantastic stuff, Jakob Pertl, man. And the chemistry between you and Scottie and IQ is off the charts. And as much as we're getting development with the J-Rooks and O Rob playing out the end of the game in the fourth quarter, we're getting fantastic development from our starting core of getting more and more reps and building a fantastic chemistry between Scottie and Jakob specifically. Holy crap. The stuff they were doing last night was top level. Top level. My second star of the game last night is Scottie. I felt like, this is the thing. Yesterday I said, Scottie, go get 50 against Charlotte. And if you do, I'll know that you're listening to us. Well, this is the thing. Scottie, at some point in the first half, and Matt Devlin sensed this and even said it like 5 minutes after I said it in the chat. It was very spooky. And I guess I'm just attuned to the announcers, and I've been watching basketball for a long time, that I understand stuff. But I said in the beginning of the second quarter, Scottie can do whatever he wants in this game in the Facebook chat. That Scottie is dominant player on this court, and I knew he would be in the morning, and that's why I said, Scottie, you go get 50 tonight. Well, he could have, but it's not his nature. It's not natural. But he had the green light in some ways. He had the ability, and he could have tore up the Hornets for a lot of points last night if he was more aggressive and more of that mentality. If he was the average superstar, that man would have torched them last night, because they didn't have anything to stop him. They dared him to shoot. They weren't even playing defense. They were so lazy. And Scott just stood there for a sec. He measured it and shot the 3 and put it in. There were a few shots where they didn't guard Scottie respectfully, and he just made shots casually and easily. And I felt like if he had been a little hotter with his 3 and more aggressive in general, He could have had his career high. He could have like shot way through it, in fact. But these are not his goals at this point. And I think this is why people that want Scottie to score a lot of points for the Raptors are just not going to be happy because it's not going to happen. The man really is a glue guy. His first priority is defense. His second priority is getting his other teammates involved. And his third priority is himself. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And I don't know if he's ever going to change. In some ways, this is like OG. OG kind of was defense first, but he didn't really have the passing aspect in there. And then, OG's offense second. But Scottie, in some ways, has two things in front of before he's going to go get his slice of the pie. And that is, I'm going to make sure I'm doing things right on defense, which he was outstanding once again, all over the place, blocking people, hounding people, stealing balls, rebounding like crazy. And then he's going to set up his other guys like Jakob, look for other people. It's only when he absolutely has the easiest shot that he will be aggressive and go take it. I did like how he mixed it up with Yak. There was a play where he drive the lane and dump it off to Yak. Yak gets the easy layup. Next play down the court, Scottie keeps it, and he goes and takes it himself. You got to keep him guessing. And those really good decision-making by Scott in that way. But, man, he could have. He could have, y'all. He could have taken over that game last night and dominated like a Michael Jordan, like a Kawhi Leonard, like a LeBron James, like a Kevin Durant. But he didn't. He didn't do it. It's just not in him, man. In some ways, that may frustrate some Raptors fans. But to me, I think it's absolutely rare, and it's actually a really winning kind of thing. Seriously. Because in some ways, Scottie is like, anybody can score. I'll let the other guys take the scoring, and I'll do the harder stuff for our team to be the best team that it can be to win. And that's commendable, honestly, because in some ways, not being the normal selfish NBA superstar that wants as many stats for himself to make sure he gets the most money in the world that he can earn is very, very commendable in some ways. Very, very commendable. Scottie was 6 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from three. He stepped into those threes. 4 of 6 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers, a +8 and 18 points. Didn't even score 20. And I still feel like he had a really, really good game. And it was really the chemistry with his teammates and the defense. The defense. Another thing I want to note about the Raptors last night is even though they were playing the Charlotte Hornets, a team that is not very good, a team that has a lot of flaws and problems right now, they didn't play to their level and commit a lot of turnovers themselves. The Raptors really limited their turnovers last night, and that was fantastic. They only had 2 at a halftime, and at the end of the game, they ended up with a very, very low well, they had 12 by the end of they had 15 by the end of the game. No, wait, that's not the right one. No, they had 6. They only had 4 in the second half. So they had 2 in the first half, 4 in the second half. That's pretty damn good, honestly. Only 6 turnovers the whole entire game, y'all. That's really, really good. And against a team that's very chaotic. And that, the other thing about that game is the Raptors shot horrible. They did not shoot well last night, and they won. They did get their shooting percentage up, though. That halftime, they were shooting like 37%. But at the end of the game, they were shooting 44%. But for the most part, they didn't shoot well, but they didn't cause a lot of turnovers. And there was weirdness because the Hornets were hanging around and like it wasn't a big lead at the half. And they had a really bad second quarter, which the Raptors really struggled in the second quarter. They had a hard time scoring in general. And they made up the lead. But, they did things right. They carried things out the right way. And the funny thing is, too, we had our rookies out there, J-Rooks and Orlando Robinson, against veterans because they were still playing people like Miles Bridges and Seth Curry and Nurkic. And these are guys that have played in the league, some of them for 10 years. And their experience and who they were wasn't enough to beat our very young, inexperienced J-Rook and O Rob team. That's true. Like at the end of the game, they were not playing all young players. They had vets out there playing for them on the court for the Hornets last night. So very, very interesting. Third star of the game is Jamal Shed. Shed got the chain finally last night. That was really nice to see. I was hoping he would. He got the after game interview too because he was really, really stellar. 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. So you do the math. 6 of his misses were from 3, and most of his makes were from inside. And he really did make that adjustment. That's smart. And you can tell that Jamal is really calculating things and figuring things out. That way that he caused that 8-second violation at half court was masterful. The fact that he's watching that and counting that down, and he put a little bit of extra blockage at the half court line that caused that, and CJ Washington's right there to call the call because he likes doing that. Oh, trust me, CJ Washington likes calling travels and violations. And well, that was really cool how Jamal held the Charlotte Hornet player at the half court just a little bit more to cough up the ball and give us a turnover over to us from a 8-second violation at half court. That was top level, man. That was really high level shit that you expect from like a 7-year pro like Kyle Lowry, 7 years into his career, not a rookie like Jamal Shed, operating on that level of awareness and execution, to be honest. Yeah, I really love how he mixed it up. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers, a 4 assists, 0 turnover game for Jamal. 17 points, a +2 in 22 minutes. He said after the game, one of the first things that Darko had to say to him that was negative was, you need to stop turning the ball over. That right away, when he started working with the Raptors, Coach Darko said, no, 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 you cannot turn the ball over anymore. And we've seen a journey of Jamal Shed over the season. Like I said, earlier in the season, he was lofting crazy high passes over people's heads at the baseline, and it was going out of bounds. And, he worked really hard on tightening up, on making sure if he's going to pass it to someone, you better make sure that you're executing and you're not failing. And he also brought up Coach Sampson, his coach from Houston. He said that Coach Sampson used to tell him when he was at Houston that, the other players on the court can afford to make turnovers, but the point guard can't. The point guard is not allowed to make turnovers, and you need to be better than that. And I love that. The influence of his college coach, the influence of his current coach, both reinforcing that point guards don't get turnovers. And, well, Jamal didn't get a single damn one last night, and we're proud of him for that. So he's very focused on limiting his turnovers from a very early orientation that Darko said, we're not doing this while you're here. And I like hearing that from that end too. Emmanuel Quickly is my next star of the game. I love seeing that our 3 most important players in this game last night all rose to the occasion. No dead notes. All 3 of them were doing amazing things. And Emmanuel was a little bit struggling with his shot at times, but he believes in himself. So he continues to shoot. And he's going to find his basket at some point. So Emmanuel, 6 of 15, not the best shooting, but passable. 5 of 8 from 3 is fantastic. And I love the way he plays. There was one play early in the game where Jacoby Walter showed amazing hustle, chasing down a ball that was about to go out of bounds from like the other side of the court. Really, really amazing hustle by Jacoby. And then he threw it to Emmanuel, and Emmanuel was near the logo, and he's like, why not? And he just jacks it up. It was so comical to me because I see amazing rookie running down a ball like with such tenacity and ferocity, just like, I'm going to get that. And then he hands it over to a guy who just casually, in some ways, takes a bad shot selection, but for him, it's not. It's not. Who just immediately takes a logo 3 because there's nobody near him. That moment made me laugh because it's kind of like we saw the fantastic effort by Jacoby, and then the very like laissez-faire shot selection of Emmanuel in a split second right after each other. It was really funny to me. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 9 assists for Emmanuel, 1 steal, 1 turnover. So a 9-to-1 assist to turnover ratio for the starting point guard. We can live with that, right, Raptors fans? 9 assists, 1 turnover. Emmanuel Quickly, that's great. +9 with 19 points in 27 minutes. Yeah, just solid leadership, smarts, quickness, all kinds of stuff. And somebody said in the said that like one of the things that Darko's very proud of with Emmanuel is he's gotten stronger this season. If you look at him physically, he's not as small and skinny. He is actually a bigger built up man at this point. He is a stronger person. You can look at him and you'll be like, holy crap, I didn't notice that until Lex pointed out. But if you go look at Emmanuel now, there's more muscle on his arms and his shoulders than there was at the beginning of the year, guys. Seriously. All right, and then my last star of the game for this one is going to be Jacoby. Jacoby, like I said, had that effort chasing down the ball. Got the start again last night, which was cool. It wasn't necessarily for his scoring; it was more for his defensive intensity that I'm giving. This. Actually, this is what this is what Shed said after the game, which is really telling. He said he saw that Jacoby was playing really, really all out on defense at the start of the game. And he inspired him that he saw Jacoby playing such locked in defense, like really, really not distracted, really on top of doing everything exactly right. That he encouraged Jamal when he came in off the bench to keep that intensity up while he's out there. That's what I'm saying. The power of leadership, the power of example is very powerful. And it starts with Scottie, but it's also seen in things like Jacoby echoing Scottie or mirroring Scottie. And then Jamal sees that and he's like, I'm going to go be like Jacoby. Well, Jacoby's saying, I want to be like Scottie. It's all domino effect. And that's part of the secret of the success of the number one ranked defense in the NBA right now is that these guys are working off of each other, communicating off each other, and they are inspired by each other. And Jamal made that very clear that part of his extra special play on defense was encouraged by Jacoby's effort and his energy expansion. So that's really awesome, man. I love that so much. Yeah, Jacoby, 3 of 8 from the field. He took almost all of his shots from three and only one shot inside, which he missed, but he made 3 of 7 from three. 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 turnover, a +8 with 11 points for Jacoby Walter. Yeah, we had 5 guys in double digits last night, which is nice balance. If I'm going to do an honorable mention for the game last night, I'm going to give the honorable mention to Cole Schwider. Why not? Cole kind of did a couple of good things last night. I like that he kept one possession alive by getting a hand on an offensive rebound tip that tipped it out, and we got the ball back. I like that he did hit a three in the game, in the rhythm of the game. He was 2 for 5, 1 of 4 at three. Didn't get any stats other than one block, +7 with 5 points. Yeah, you know what? He's building. He was better than the first game that he played for the Raptors, but I'm still not that impressed. It is what it is. In some ways, the guy's doing what he can with the opportunity he's got right now. Do your best, man. Do your best. And that's all we can ask of you. That's all we can ask. Jamison Battle in the starting lineup had a tough shooting night. 1 of 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from all of his threes. 4 rebounds, though, 2 assists, 2 steals, a +10 with only 2 points. Yeah, it was a little bit of a tough game for him. A little bit of a tough game. Jonathan Mobo was fantastic. Early on, I thought that he was so good with he made a couple outside shots. One was a foot on the line, so it didn't count as a three. And then he was just really, really good defensively and also rebounding wise. So, Jonathan, good job last night. You were doing a lot of good things last night on the court. 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from three, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, +7 with 5 points for Mobo. Orlando Robinson, just a really gritty physical player who's doing a lot of stuff for the Raptors, putting his body on the line and really, really in there fighting. And in some ways, that's dangerous. Just ask him. He had to deal with a Josef Nurkic trying to post him up and throwing high elbows. Honestly, that's dirty shit, Nurkic. That is dirty shit. You trying to make room for yourself to back down, and you're throwing elbows up like this at the man's face. You're a dirty motherfucker, Josef Nurkic. And I would say this, man. How many teams have you been on in the NBA? You're a problem player, aren't you? Like, these people are trading you because you're actually kind of on the down low problem. You didn't last in Phoenix, and you weren't there in Portland very long either. And it seemed like last night your Charlotte Hornets teammates were trying to teach you what to do and help you. And I'm saying, well, he's a vet. He should just do what he does. He should know. I'm like, what? But he has to fit into their system. He didn't seem like he was getting along with the people on the Hornets. So I don't know what's going on with Nurkic. He's a weird guy. And I don't appreciate his high elbows to clear room on backing down. That's dirty shit. And honestly, David Guthrie, Jason Goldenberg, CJ Washington, y'all should have probably called him for dirty ass elbows up instead of calling Orlando for a foul in that post up back down that he did. Because every single one of his elbows, they didn't have to be up high. He could have done them this way. He was going up. and that means he was going for his jaw. And thankfully, Orlando Robinson did not get hit by one of those elbows. But man, that's dirty shit. I'm saying that right now. That is dirty shit. 22 minutes for Orlando, 2 of 5 from the field. He hit his only three, which was fun. It was a later in the game three. He just kind of stepped into it. He was open. He had to take it, and he was good. He was good. It was awesome. He missed both his free throws, which was not like him. And they said something about that. I don't know if he was a little mentally not there in the free throws. He did get 10 rebounds, which is awesome. 3 of them offensive, 1 assist, 1 steal, 0 turnovers, 5 points for Orlando Robinson. He was solid. He was solid, and I really appreciate him. And he is a keeper. In some ways, he's going to provide certain things. Like, listen, he's going to make threes more often. He gives us another kind of look off our bench for the center if he's going to be making threes consistently. And that's great. AJ Lawson came in for a little bit of time, 9 minutes, 1 of 3 from the field, 0-2 from 3, 1 rebound, 2 blocks, and 2 points, -7. Yeah, AJ was just out there floating around. I think that AJ is very much liked by Darko, and he could very well be a regular rotation player next year. The biggest ace up AJ Lawson's sleeve is his defensive energy is amazing. Like, he can really be a shit disturber. He's so fast, and he is so all over the place, and he works so hard. That's going to keep him at the Raptors level. If you continue to do that, in some ways, you don't even need to be shooting. Seriously, we can get you shooting and get hot sometimes, but if you're totally cold, you're a useful player still, AJ Lawson. Because in some ways, you could be out there like a Tayshaun Prince, a long-arm defensive kind of player that is just really a shit disturber and is all over the place doing all kinds of different stuff defensively. So there's a real use for you, even if your offense is not going down. Now, granted, you are a fantastic transitional player and finisher. You're a great three-point shooter when you're locked in. You have different levels of offense to you, but the bread and butter that's going to keep you in this league, AJ, is your offensive. Is not your offensive. It's your defensive output and your lockdownness. You get really good at this, man. I'm telling you, I could see you being a regular roster member for the Raptors next year because you're useful off the bench as a possible defensive energy stopper who doesn't quit, who's out there putting it all out there on the court. So, yeah, I say that to AJ Lawson right there. But, yeah, good job, Raptors. Here's the stars of your game. I'll give some credit to the other side real quick. Daquan Jeffries, the leading not the leading scorer, but he was one of their better players, 6 of 9 from the field. He had a big game. Double-double for Mark Williams, who was the leading scorer, 18 points, 12 rebounds. He was a perfect 9 for 9 from the field, Mark Williams. Miles Bridges was shut down by Scottie for the first half, and he kind of woke up a little bit. Not really, though. 4 for 20, only 11 points for him. He was really kind of shut down. And, yeah, the battles between Simpson and Quickly and Shed were very interesting. But, yeah, most of their guys didn't do a whole lot. The rookie, Stallone, was very interesting off the bench. He's a very physical player. And then, like I said, Nurkic, what the hell is going on with him, man? In some ways, he does not fit this team. In some ways, Nurkic may be needing to watch out because he may be finding a door out of the league real quick because it doesn't seem like he's a good people person. And in some ways, he may be wearing his welcome out in the league. You find yourself on the Hornets, and you're not even starting at this point, bro, something's wrong. Something's wrong with your career. And you may be in trouble, seriously, with it. Seriously, I could see that. I could see that happening. Yeah, Mo's here. Good to see Superfan Monique. She was at the game last night, and she ran into Jonathan after the game and got a nice picture with Jonathan Mobo. Fantastic. I love when Mo meets the Raptors and gets pictures taken with them. It's so awesome. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Another beatdown. Great win. Stars of the game. Everyone, say hello to the J-Rooks. The NBA, way to go, starters. I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm glad you got to go to that game last night at GOAT Night where they were honoring OVO Music and Roy Woods. He kind of just waved. I thought he maybe would play some music, but they just kind of did a little DJ thing at halftime. They didn't really do some things. They had one part during the in-game ops last night that I watched that was very interesting. It was about cutting your sandwich. That's right. They do the fun little things on the Jumbotron during the breaks in the game, and they have sometimes fun little interviews with the players. And they were asking the Raptors whether they cut their sandwiches diagonally or vertically or no cut at all. And it was very interesting, some of the answers. Scottie and Grady are no cut guys. They're just like, I'm gonna eat it. And Ulrich was funny when he talked about it. He's saying, I don't cut my sandwich, it's all going to the same place. That's so funny. But some guys were like, "Nah, you need to cut the sandwich. You need to cut the sandwich for damn sure. What are you talking about? It tastes better." And Jamal Shed said, "You cut it diagonally, just like my mom used to, because it makes a sandwich taste better." It's interesting to hear their comments and the way they feel about sandwiches and how they should be cut. The Raptors. That's right. That's the in-depth kind of stuff you're gonna get on the Raptor Freak channel. We're talking about cutting sandwiches, y'all. Just like we talked about pouring milk and cereal. Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah. Jamal with the chain. Yeah, and rightfully so. It's cool because he was one of the last guys on the team that really hadn't gotten the chain yet. There's a few guys that haven't gotten it. Jameson, I don't think's gotten it. But JMO and Jamal have both gotten it recently. And of course, Jacoby got it when he hit that game winner last month in the last month. So yeah, different guys have been getting it. And we're now at what, 27 wins? So 27 chains have gone out. And, we have a certain amount of players. I know Scottie's gotten his fair share of chains, and Jakob's gotten a few chains, and Quickly's got a few chains, and RJ's gotten a few chains. But, different people have gotten different chains. Garrett Temple got a chain, you know. So I think Bruce Brown got a chain before he got traded. So it's like it'd be interesting to see the chain count list. And well, Jonathan and Jamal have gotten their chains now, which is fantastic. Stargate saying something serious must have happened. I can't see why they would fire a coach at this stage. I know it's ridiculous, Stargate. It's strategically horrible. Absolutely horrible. This is not the right time to fire your head coach, especially when you're the 4th seed in the Western Conference standings and you have a home court advantage in the first round. This does not make any sense at all to me. There had to be something really egregiously rift or some sort of action that happened that's just unforgivable for this to happen this way. It's crazy. James is saying, out of all our rookies, Jamal Shed is number 1. I agree with this. Now, if Jacoby hadn't been hurt at different times of the season, like to start the season, and then the more recent injury that he had that he just came back from, maybe he would have had more numbers and more time, and he would have shown something more that he would be more considered for the rookie team. But it's true. I think that because the way the coaches see Jamal Shed around the league, and that Matt Devlin is promoting Jamal Shed on the broadcast for a rookie team at this point, he has the best shot. And I'm glad about that. I think that somebody in our rookies needs recognition. Somebody does. Somebody does. But I'm not holding my breath. We may get passed over and nothing happens. But Matt Devlin, do your part in the last stretch of games and put that out there on the broadcast as much as you can. Because you have a lot of power in this, Matt Devlin. You really do. Because it's not just our fans that see your call. You get put on NBA highlight reels, and they hear you on there too. So if you make any kind of politicking for Jamal Shed to make an all-rookie team, you will have a helping. You probably are the best person that can help him out of anybody in this world, Matt Devlin. You helped with Scottie Roy. You did. You helped with Scottie Roy, and you helped with Freddie All-Star too. People have to remember that. You helped Fred get on the All-Star team. You really, really did. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Great win for the Raps. Jamal deserved the chain. I agree. But what an impressive display from Jakob. IQ and Scottie also amazing. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to give it to the best player, it's Jakob's chain again last night. But Darko's spreading the love, and Jamal deserves it too. I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. And it's so fun to see what happened after the game. Let's go to the Instagram stories. First of all, Norman Powell is celebrating that the UCLA women's basketball team has advanced the Elite Eight and the women's March Madness. So good job, UCLA women, being in the Elite Eight. So Norman, as a proud former UCLA, loves that. And there's Jamal right there with the chain, like we are just talking about. And in his picture, it's kind of cool because he's flanked by Scottie Barnes and Emmanuel Quickly on both sides of him. And that's special. In some ways that means a lot to Jamal because he loves the leadership of the guys in the barbecue. And the barbecue guy standing next to him with his chain and him with the big cheesy smile. He's so happy. In some ways, this rookie season's been so fun for Jamal. In some ways, it's had its trials and tribulations. The rookie wall he hit of energy early in the season, honestly. He hit a rookie wall around the end of November, honestly. And the trouble, the losing, the ups and downs, the seeing the whole spectrum of what the NBA is as far as the travel, the wear and tear, the ups and downs with winning and losing. Jamal's in a really good place right now because he understands the project at this point. And in some ways, he's a lot looser. It's kind of fun to watch him in pictures right now because he's smiling a lot and he's being goofy. Like he'll come up on cameras, like if they show him during the anthem and they're all standing there, he'll make kind of like a face, like he's like this. And him and Jacoby are always making goofy faces at the camera and doing goofy stuff. And I love that. I love that. I mean, between the Raptor messing up Matt Devlin because he came up behind him, he's standing next to him. RJ Barrett running into the camera with Kayla Gray and or no, Savannah Hamilton and Blake Murphy before the game saying hi to everybody. That kind of stuff. It's goofy. It's fun. Emmanuel running in and posing too. The team's loose. They're having fun. The Grizzlies mojo has moved with Darko to our team, and it's in our guys' bodies. And when Darko and Dylan Brooks and different people left Memphis, it went away, honestly. And that may be part of the reason why Jenkins got fired yesterday, guys, is that swag, that charisma, that unity, those good vibes. They're gone. And they're officially here in Toronto, and you see them on the faces of rookies like Shed and Walter. That's what I'm saying right there. You see it in their faces coming into this team. And I love it, man. There's Shed. They had somebody watching him on TV in a bar, and they said, 3, keep MF dancing, boys. Let's go. There you go. Somebody rooting on the Raptors there. I love it. Let's see. Oh, no, that's for the Houston game. That's him watching his alma mater, Houston. So he's happy about the Houston Cougars getting past their game last night in the tournament. Let's see. Wubbs is celebrating Jacob Fredson Cole for committing to Oklahoma. Let's see. He's also got himself on the win for the Raptors game last night. And let's see. What's his last little frame here? It's him with a song playing over it there. There's Emmanuel with a nice play where he passes it into Jakob. Jakob looks around. He's got Nurkic on him. What's he going to do? Is he going to – he throws it back to quickly, and he's going to take the quick 3 and make it. Miles Bridges is too late around the pick. There you go. There's Jonathan posting Jamal with Scottie and Emmanuel with the chain. You love to see that. Then there's a play where he's getting set up here where it's a give and go, I believe. No, they kick it back out, and he drives in. And he does a little spin move, and he passes. Oh, yeah, that pass to Jakob, which is really high level. I love that. Jay Nathan doesn't have like blinders on where he just is going to blindly go up with the shot. He made a decision in the lane on that play to dump it off to Yak. And in some ways, that play has already been practiced, and he knows about that. And he may have known, I want to go for the dump off because they're all coming towards me. Yak's next to the basket. And it's kind of a hard pass because you're throwing it over a couple defenders who have reach, but you also want to make it fast enough so that it gets to Yak before they can recover and come to him. So it's really like the right amount of height over the outstretched arms of the defenders in the lane, along with a quick enough time that Yak can catch it and just put it in faster than they can recover. And that's not totally easy. And that was a high level pass that Mobo showed in that play when he dumped it off to Yak on the side. Scottie's at home after the game. And he's wearing his Balenciaga gear that he was wearing coming in the game. And he says, yeah, I'm a big Lency guy. That's the caption here. So Scottie is showing his allegiance to the brand Balenciaga. And also he's a big Supreme guy. And I noticed in that picture, Scott, I see all your room that you Twitch from and the artwork and the stuff you have in the back, like the painting somebody made for you a few years ago. It was awesome. And your neon, your boy Scottie sign. But I noticed on your Supreme chair, Scott, in the picture, that you've been grabbing it a lot because you've been playing a lot of video games. And there's some wear on the arm of your chair. Let's put it that way. You've been grabbing it and ripping it up a little bit there, Scott. I can tell. Or the dogs may have been chewing on it. That could be possible, too. There's the Raptors sitting in a very huge chair on the court in the game. That's weird. Yeah, the Raptor, you're weird, man, coming through. He's riding around on that thing, and there he is with the – man, Raptor, you're a rambunctious dude, man. 95 the Raptor. We love that guy. He's awesome. Weird. Let's see. What else do we got? It looks like Eugene Omarui is celebrating accomplishment on the Thunder. There was something that happened on the Thunder he was really happy about. Of course, he played on the Thunder for a split second, so he has family there. There's Jack Armstrong watching the game at March Madness with uh, Kayla Gray. I guess Kayla Gray stole Jack's phone or something. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there. Chris Boucher has got some sort of weird something. I don't know what's going on there. Chris, I get this now. Chris, available for the game last night. Chris with the poofy hair. Chris warming up before the game. Chris being the ultimate pro. Chris being like Garrett. And in some ways, the two guys who were coach's decision did not play were Garrett Temple and Chris Boucher. And in some ways, once again, you get to a certain level of vet in your career, you may be sitting on the bench a lot of games. Garrett Temple knows this. Garrett Temple has been doing this for years now. And in some ways, that's who Chris needs to talk to. Is like, what's going on with me right now? And Garrett's like, dude, you're in the NBA. You're making millions of dollars. You're happy. Just be a pro. Be ready. Be like me. I've had to do this for years now, and you can do it too, Chris. Honestly, think about me, bro. I'm like 38, and I'm still in this league right now, and I'm still getting an NBA lifestyle and a paycheck. You want to continue to have that? Well, go ahead and be like me, Chris. And in some ways, it's not a big deal. Like I said, like, look, Udonis Haslem, how long did he hang out with the Miami Heat? And he didn't play a lot of games near the end. It's not that you can't play. It's not that you wouldn't play really, really at a high level. You have 2 rings already, so it's not like you need to ring chase. Do you want to just stay in Toronto, even if you get DMPs and be a Udonis Haslem? If you're okay with that, man, I would say, just be okay with that. But if you're not this summer, things need to be figured out and you need to go somewhere else than Toronto. I understand that too. Some people don't want to waste their lives just sitting on the shelf and they want to be involved. I get that. And competitors should be like that. But I don't know. You got a choice here, man. In some ways, you have an easy life, an easy street if you really want it and you don't want to rock the boat. In some ways, you could, it's like Chris said once on his podcast, Hustle Play Podcast, he said, you tell the landlord you want to move out. Well, the landlord's probably going to kick you out before you get a chance to move out. And that's something he's not trying to do. It's like if he has that philosophy and he has that mentality, he's not trying to tell the Raptors he's unhappy because he's not playing right now, because he don't want to rock the boat and he wants to allow all of his flexible options to be the best that they can be at the junctures that are coming up. And that's what I say about Chris Boucher not playing right now. He has to take the lead from Garrett Temple. And understand, in an NBA player's career, there are natural stages to things sometimes. For not everybody, superstars are a certain way, different players at different levels are a certain way. But right now, this is the level where he has to be as far as things with the scheme of things, as far as Rajakovic's vision and what the Raptors organization is trying to do. And that's unfortunate. But they did ask Darko before the game, is Chris available? And he said, yeah, Chris is available. He's going to play, but he's not going to, he could play, but he's not going to. So he told the press right before the game already that we're emphasizing developing the young guys and that Chris is not going to be playing tonight. So they knew coming in. The pictures of the guys coming into the game last night were fantastic. It started off with Garrett and Garrett Jr. walking in a really cute father-son picture. But they had like 10 of the guys in walk-in pictures yesterday. And they were all different kind of like personalities. It's kind of funny. You have Jakob in the straight up like Raptors black warm-up suit, but then you see the personalities of the different guys in their clothing and how they come in. Even Brandon Ingram is dressing up and coming in for those pictures right now. It's kind of fun to see. And I get the vibes from Jacoby and Jamal and even Brandon, honestly, that they're like students at university and they're going to college class. Like I get those vibes from Jacoby. It's like when these pictures of them coming in, you get the vibes of like school. You do. Seriously, from the entry pictures that they show the Raptors before every game. Sometimes when I see Jacoby's picture, I'm like, this is like a kid who's going to university class. And he's got his backpack and he's got his cheesy smile. And in some ways, he's in that mode, in that age of where he is right now as a kid who's just right around 20 years old. So, I mean, that's fun to me. And I like that there's an enthusiasm. And in some ways, their energy coming in is always kind of like, we're here to learn and we're ready and we're enthusiastic and excited about it. And I love that. I love that about that energy that comes from Shed and Walter. They had a pregame function before the game for GOAT night in a hidden enclave of the Scotiabank Arena, an area that the public's not necessarily allowed to come to. It's like the Drake Lounge or something. And they had Jamal McGlure there with hors d'oeuvres, and certain people had VIP access to come in there and for the GOAT night pre-party, which is it seemed like a good time. And they also had Roy Woods in there hanging out with people too at that event. So there was a little bit of a pregame. There's Jamal at it, greeting fans and talking to them, taking a couple pictures with different people. They did a really interesting thing for the starting graphic. A couple weeks ago, we saw them do the starting five as a boy band, taking the heads of the Raptors and superimposing them over a Backstreet Boys album cover. Well, they did another album cover last night, and it was Drake's Views album. Of course, that album was Drake sitting on top of the CN Tower, is the cover. Well, they did that with the Raptors starting lineup, but it's like they're so small, you can't even tell who they are. It's like weird. They're like, this is your starting lineup, and they don't have the names of them or anything on the graphic. They just have five little small men sitting on top of the CN Tower. And because the image is so like big, you can't see them. You can kind of make out, okay, that looks kind of like Jameson Battle. And of course, the white guy is Jakob, right? And then you got like the other guys. I couldn't necessarily figure out who was Emmanuel and who was Jacoby, because it's just such a weird image. And they're just like all sitting in a row, like Drake would be on the Views album. I thought that was creative, if not effective. It wasn't effective for really telling us who was starting. Because they didn't list them. They didn't put the names on there or anything. They just had small little guys sitting on the CN Tower saying, this is the starting lineup, guys. But I like that motif. And they've also recently announced that the Raptors are going to have 2010s night on the 3rd, which I guess is their game next Wednesday. So, yeah, they're going to have, or not next Wednesday, I guess it's Friday next week. They're going to have a 2010s night. They've done the 90s night, the 2000s night, and they're going to do a 2010s night next week. And that theme of that era. So, yeah, just so y'all know, heads up. Raptors news is important to know. Yeah, I like the City Edition stuff. It's nice to see that court. It's nice to see the jerseys. And it was interesting to see it mix with the City Edition jerseys of the Hornets. That's an ugly ass, weird, minty green kind of color that they're wearing. But you know what? It kind of worked really well with our colors on the court. Sometimes the two teams, when they play on the court, there's a nice little color motif palette that's kind of going on in the game. And I felt like their ugly ass, weird, minty, puke green, whatever Charlotte was wearing last night, actually kind of fit with our purple black motif. And it had a kind of pop to it as far as the color scheme of things and two teams playing each other. So I thought that was kind of cool on the download myself personally. There's a Siakam with his Pacer stuff. Yeah, that's all I have to say. There he is dunking. I like to see Siakam dunking it. That's beautiful. Yeah, and then Bruno Fernando saying, believe in yourself. He's got all these sayings. Consider things from every angle. Don't give up. Don't give in. You know, he's given all these words of wisdom. So that's from the Angolan Bruno Fernando. There's your words of wisdom and Instagram stories. Finishing up right there. Pretty good stuff, man. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, let's see. DK saying, how's your weekend? Well, I'm still in the middle of it. It's Saturday, right, bro? I don't know. Come talk to me on Monday. How about that? We'll talk to me on Monday, and I'll tell you how my weekend was. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. All right, let's see what else y'all are saying. Let me find my spot. Fiercely saying, next season, if we're healthy, we're going to be such a problem to the league. Yeah, I think we could even, God forbid, I'll knock on wood, even if we weather some injuries at different times, I think we have depth to make up for it in certain ways. And that's why this is so special and important that the J-Rooks and Orlando Robinson close out games like they did last night, because it makes them feel more capable and comfortable and confident that they can, if they're in these situations, they've been in them before, and they're not just thrown into them all of a sudden in a really bad situation because of injury. In some ways, this is very beneficial, and it's really going to help us next year. God forbid anybody who's important to our team misses a section of the season next year. But if we do, I feel like I have confidence in our depth that it will make up for it just in case. Yeah. Fiercely saying, saw a clip from last week when the Grizz were trailing by 20 points. Jenkins was dancing with Ja in the timeout. So no bad blood between them. I saw Bain shoving Aldana though. That was interesting. Yeah, somebody brought up the whole thing about Taylor Jenkins dancing with John Morant recently. That's like that's fooling us. I don't know. Maybe that kind of tells me that Ja's not the person who had the problem with Taylor Jenkins. This may be like a preemptive Dwayne Casey kind of thing. Seriously. Like maybe they understand that they don't think that he's not gonna get them to a certain place in the playoffs. And they're just preemptively saying, we're going to go with this other guy. It could be that the guy that they gave the job to, the assistant coach, has been a superstar underneath him in certain ways. And they're like, man, this guy has such fresh ideas. And in some ways, I have more confidence in him leading the team than Taylor Jenkins right now. I don't know. I mean, some ways it does kind of smack of a Casey kind of like this guy's hit a ceiling with us for 6 years, and we are not going to go any further with him, and we may need to make the adjustments. I'd be surprised to find out for next year, is this assistant that's doing the job interim now going to be the plan for next year to be their coach for next year going forward? Because that in some ways would make sense to me if they really like this guy from within and that he's just been a superstar below Taylor Jenkins. And some people are saying, well, we don't need Taylor because this guy's the guy. It'll be telling whether they hire this guy as the full-time coach next year. It may have to do with how they do for the rest of the season in the playoffs, though. If they don't do well, hasta la vista, baby. Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. Sussing out this Grizzlies situation from the outside, it's really hard because it didn't seem like anything was broken there. At least it didn't seem like it. Kaz is saying it was a good game from our Raps. Just remember who we were playing, though. Yeah, and we were ugly too. You know what? Honestly, the way we played last night would have been good enough from the turnover standpoint against good teams, but not from the missing shot standpoint. There were certain sections of the game where both the Hornets and the Raptors could not make any shots. The second quarter was ugly at times, where both times down the court, it didn't look like professional basketball because these guys were not professionally making and converting shots. There was a lot of missing, and it looked a little G League-ish. Yeah, this is fair. But, I would say this, Kaz. Let's think about that, they came out strong, started really good, and got a good double-digit lead early, but then they floundered in the second quarter, and the Charlotte Hornets caught up, and there was a test of threat, and how do you react to that? And actually, that's when Scottie kind of said, I'm going to go ahead and get us back on a 10-point cushion and put us up above them by being a little bit more aggressive with his scoring after the halftime. And then that's kind of where we separated from them again in the third quarter. And then we kind of had a cruising kind of pad that kind of fluctuated, although it did get swallowed up at times where they got closer. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. In some ways, I was wondering because Trevor was saying we're going to win with like 7 minutes to go. And I was like, there's still enough time for them to catch up and beat us because they're only like 12 points behind. And don't count your chickens before they hatch. And in some ways, it's dangerous because the way we've been playing right now is that we're kind of on purposely rolling over a little bit at the end of the game. And if the team has the gumption on the other side, the ability and the talent and the drive, they can come up and steal a game from us right at the end of the game. Partly because in some ways that's maybe part of the design of our rotation by putting the J-Rooks and Orlando Robinson out at the end of the game. I mean, that's why I was wondering. It's like we could play this game all game long and obviously be the better team and kick their butt, but we could actually kind of nosedive right at the end of the game and allow the Hornets to just score a bunch of points and win the game by like 1 point at the end of the game. I was worried about that last night a little bit. But Shed's too good, and he was on point, and he had things under control, and he ain't allowing that. And that's something I like. MJ saying Jenkins will get a job real quick. I mean, Vogel got hired by the Suns, so yeah. Lex, apparently the Grizz organization removed most of his coaching staff last year, so it may have been a sign. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, if they did this last year, okay, I understand the offseason, but with 8 games to go in the season, this is ridiculously bad timing. Like ridiculously bad. This is horrible. It's chaotic. And in some ways, they have to make an adjustment with less than 10 games to go in the season. And they're going in the playoffs as a home court team. Does not make any freaking sense at all. If the Washington Wizards fired Brian Keefe yesterday, it would make sense. This doesn't make any freaking sense whatsoever. This is a team that's winning, is going to the playoffs, and from all intents and purposes, from what I've seen the last 6 years, Taylor Jenkins has been a badass coach for them that built them up, even amidst seasons that were very difficult because of injury and suspension. So it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. You can say there's a writing on the wall. Well, why is the wall being looked at this time in the season right now? This is just really dumb management by the Grizzlies. Seriously, if this was an issue that could be kind of glossed over and say we'll deal with this in the offseason, they should have done that. Seriously, because in some ways upsetting their team like this in a way like this is not helpful and is really dumb. And I want to see how they do in the playoffs now. If they flame out and they go out real early and they are a huge disappointment, I'm going to blame this coach's change so late in the season. I really am. I really, really am. Let's see. MJ saying, how would you rank the Hornets versus the Wizards? It seems both teams lack fundamentals and play hectically. They both have vet presence and still no success, as opposed to Detroit, who the vets help. Well, it's an interesting thing because there was a phenomenon in the last few years in the NBA of casting all your veterans aside and getting rid of them. And then all these young nucleus teams like the Rockets, like the Hornets, like the Wizards, all of a sudden had no direction. And their players were not getting taught how to be professionals correctly. And this was a real issue. So the NBA made an overcorrection saying, oh, no, we do need to have veterans on each team. And that may be part of the reason why the Wizards wanted to trade Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton. And that's part of the reason why Marcus Smart is on that team this year. It's part of the reason why Derrick Rose was on the Grizzlies in the past couple of years. It's part of the reason why Fred and Jeff Green and Dylan Brooks are in Houston to help teach the young Houston players. That veterans do matter. People like Garrett Temple being on your team matter. And these young teams that are in Wizards and Charlotte didn't realize that until it's too late. There's a reason why Taj Gibson, the third oldest player in the NBA, is sitting on the Charlotte Hornets bench. And he's sitting next to LaMelo and trying to talk to him and teach him. It's very important to have veteran leadership on your teams. And some of these teams thought they could get away with it. And, well, they're paying for it because they went through a couple of years where they didn't have very good veteran leadership. And now they got to get back on track by adding people like Middleton and Smart back to the team. You know, Seth Curry, Taj Gibson, those are old vets that are good leaders for the Hornets. But I don't know if Nurkic is. I don't know if he is. He seems like a problem. And Grant Williams, sure, you can call him a veteran leader for that team too, I guess. Even though he's not around, he's hurt. But, yeah, I don't know. I would say this. You're asking me between the two of them. I think the Hornets have a much promise. In some ways, they're equal, actually. I got to be fair. Sarr, Carrington, Koulibaly, these guys have a lot of promise. Keyshawn George. And in some ways, there's more of them now in Washington than the Hornets, who really just have LaMelo and Brandon as the two guys that are really studs that have promise for later. And I don't believe in Ball as far as the kind of player he is, that he's a winning player. I believe in Brandon, but I don't believe in Ball. So I would have said the Hornets were ahead of the Wizards last year, but I feel like because the Wizards with their rookie class is better than the Hornets actually right now. The Hornets are really bad. And even with LaMelo, I don't think they're that good. And so I would say, even though I don't think either one of them are going to get better, though. Like, even though I'm saying the Wizards' overall talent is better than the Hornets right now, I don't think either one of them are going to come out of the cellar, though, because they're all going to drop the ball and they're not going to get anywhere. They're going to spin their wheels and they're going to continue to be lottery teams because that's just their organizations. That's just how they are. Seriously. Not go saying Jenkins is going to get hired by the Suns. That could be. I mean, I would say the possibilities for him. I mean, listen, there's a really strong possibility he'll be coaching the Spurs. You know, I'm going to say that seriously. I could see that because I don't think Mitch Johnson has done the job well enough in the interim for Greg Popovich. And if Popovich health wise cannot return, I'll bet you the Spurs will hire him. I'm going to guess that he's going there. I think that in some ways the Suns' track record of switching back and forth is not attractive, and their team is not as attractive as coaching Wemby. So think about that. And the other thing is with the Spurs, you have more job security. They're not going to be willy-nilly just tossing you aside like the Suns might. You know, Budenholzer just came there, and he's only been there 1 year. Vogel was there for 1 year. And Monty was gone. They fired a coach at the end of the year each year, and I think Budenholzer will be fired. I agree with you, but why would Tyler Jenkins want to go there then? Is much more job security, and he has the fun of playing of having a player like Victor Wembanyama on his team. So I would say that. I'd even say that Taylor Jenkins, I should say, is more likely to take Philadelphia over Phoenix. Seriously. I could see that too. So I'm not going to agree with you, Naka. You think he's going to get hired by the Suns? I think most people are like, Suns are toxic. I can't go there right now because they're going to fire me if I go in there. Yeah. Fiercely saying, you're onto something, Nako. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he is. I mean, they're not an option yet because Budenholzer hasn't been fired. And the thing is, the Suns may go with the coach over the players this summer. It could very well be they're going to trade Kevin Durant out of there instead of firing Mike Budenholzer. And that's really where the conflict is on that team. It's Durant and Budenholzer. They don't see eye to eye. And, they may be more like, well, let's get rid of Kevin and we'll keep Coach Bud because honestly, he's from Phoenix. He's a hometown guy. And we actually like the job he's doing. It's just that he's not fitting with Kevin Durant. So I would hold your breath on them firing Budenholzer for sure this summer. I wouldn't hold your breath on that, especially if they sneak into the play-in and all of a sudden they're in a first-round playoff series and they actually upset a team that's above them in the first round because they have that caliber of talent with that. Yeah. Name is saying any food with whose code starts with a 4 or 3, out that shit down. That's how you can understand it. If you see the code on the food, which is a weird thing in itself, and it starts with a 3 or 4, don't have it because it's American origin. Interesting. Stargate saying, laugh out loud. Beyond said we'd only get 23 wins and we have 27. I wonder what negative spin he's spewing now over that channel. I have no idea. I'm not following them. I do see that King put out something new on To The Point. Y'all check out Brian's channel. He just put out something. He hasn't been making a lot of content recently. And I think it's on Bronny. I think he has a clip out on Bronny that came out yesterday. So definitely support To The Point with the King. It's a great channel. Let's see. Cool Cat's here. Good to see Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Work is crazy, but weekends are mine. On a winning trend, we have the easiest schedule. Dubs are guaranteed. I hope ball's in our favor and punish those willfully losing. Yeah, if there's anything right in this world, there's other things I'd like to correct, but this is on the list. And that they pointed this out last night, like on the broadcast. The broadcasters very much saying, when Scottie got drafted by us at 4, we had the same exact spot in the draft lottery as we do right now. We had the 7th best chance, and our ping pong balls came into the luck, and we got 4th, and we picked Scottie Barnes in 2021. And that's the history that people can look at. Once again, the thing that's in our favor isn't necessarily where we land in the draft. It's that we have Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster. And it doesn't matter because the other teams have idiots that are not as good as them. And they're going to do what they're going to do. And Bobby and Masai are going to do what they do always. They're going to be badasses, and they're going to make the best out of what we have with our picks. So I'm fully confident in the draft blindly before we even see the results of the draft lottery, because once again, the number one rule of being a Raptor freak is trust in Masai. And Masai is going to pick somebody better than the Hornets. He's going to pick somebody better than Sean Marks. He's going to pick somebody better than Daryl Morey. He's going to pick somebody better than Danny Ainge. He's going to pick somebody better than the people that run the Wizards. So don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. And we're going to get it all right with the draft. People over speculating and over worrying about this, you're putting unnecessary energy out there. That's what I say right there. You're putting unnecessary energy out there. I'm glad you're here on the weekend, Cool Cat. I do miss you. I was thinking about, man, the Cool Cat percentage in chats has gone down recently. I've noticed. But I'm really glad you're here on the weekends. I understand. Work's busy. You got to do what you got to do. Nako's saying the Wizards over Hornets. I think Sarr and Koulibaly can be a good duo. Yeah, the French connection. Let's call them that, the French connection. In honor of Gene Hackman. It was really weird. Gene Hackman died like a month ago, guys, right? Him and his wife mysteriously died at their house. Well, their bodies have not been claimed by their family. They're still sitting at the morgue, and nobody in their family wants to come and take them and bury them. Isn't that sad? That's crazy. Gene Hackman's so distanced from his children, and he didn't leave any money for them either, apparently. And this may be part of it, that his children are leaving him to rot in a morgue somewhere instead of properly burying him and putting him in a plot in the ground. And her family obviously doesn't care either because nobody from her family's coming either, his wife. Isn't that sad and weird? Something really must have gone wrong in that family where it's that kind of cold and like, yeah, I don't care. It's my dad. I don't care if it's my dad. He can go ahead and just sit in the mortuary. I don't care if it's Gene Hackman, great Academy Award winning actor. He can go sit there for a month. Nobody's claiming his body. Nobody. Isn't that messed up? Isn't that crazy? I couldn't believe that when I heard that, man. But yeah, these guys, I like this crew that's on the Wizards more than the Hornets because they have, I really think Koulibaly is awesome. I think Koulibaly is maybe the best player between the Wizards and the Hornets. Forget about LaMelo and even Brandon. I think that Koulibaly has that chance. And Sarr has impressed me more and more as the years gone on. Keyshawn George has been a force, a physical force. And Bub Carrington's a very upbeat, useful player also. So there's a nice little nucleus of talent that unfortunately I don't know if it'll get developed in the right way to become a team that does actually win down the road. But I like their talent better than the Hornets. I really do. I will agree with you on that, Nako. Nameless saying eat at A&W if you must instead. Harvey's motherfucker. I mean, if you want to eat bad food and junk food, yes, go to the Canadian Change. But also understand some of the Canadian chains are not owned by Canadians anymore, like Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is owned by America, and it's Wendy's at this point. It is a Wendy's company. And that's something you need to find out. Like even Harvey's, I'm not totally sure if Harvey's is American or Canadian at this point, guys. I'd like to think that Harvey's is a Canadian restaurant, but these big ones that are really like successful, they get bought up by American companies and they become part of a corporate umbrella from over there. And that's why you can't just suss out on normal Canadian name brand recognition. Like I'm not even sure about A&W, to be serious. Even though Nameless is saying this, I would put some research into it just to make sure. Isaac's put me on blast. I love to see it, Isaac Campbell. Thank you, benevolent one. I appreciate you so much. A day oneer, such an important Raptor freak. Nameless is saying Jakob is fantastic. You don't have to shoot field goals to be effective. Yeah, he can do whatever, man. He's the block up has been awesome. You know, there's been some chase down blocks with him, some very impressive blocks between him and Scottie. I love the block parties we have sometimes. These guys can really block shots at this point. And it's fun, man. I love block up. Block up stuff is hilarious, especially when he comes from nowhere and he blocks somebody they didn't expect he was coming. That's so good. I love that. Yeah, silly rabbits. Silly rabbits. Tricks are for kids. Yeah, rabbits. I don't know where they're at. I want them to poop more in my yard. I put some carrot ends out there. Like I ate some carrots this week and I chopped the ends off and I throw them in the yard, hoping the rabbits will come out and eat the carrots. Like, I was taught in cartoons that rabbits eat carrots. But that's not totally true. The rabbits do eat the carrots. They do like them, but they don't like them as much Bugs Bunny like carrots. Let's just put it that way. They made it really seem like Bugs Bunny really liked carrots. He really did. What's up, Doc? But and also another thing they kind of lied to us about is that carrots help our eyesight. There's some like weird lies about carrots, just so y'all know. Lies about carrots. That's what we're talking about today. That's right. Stargate saying support some of the mom and pop local small businesses more now. Yeah. Yeah. Don't go to the big chains if you can. And I know it's a little bit more expensive, but think about this, man. You're paying more. You're really supporting people and not corporations. Because listen, the corporations can sell stuff for cheaper because they're on a bigger scale. The smaller scale people like mom and pop, they do need to charge a little bit more, but you are really investing in them and not investing in Galen Weston. And that's a big part of the difference right there. So I don't mind paying a little bit more, even though times are tough and economically things are tough, because that's how I stand on things. And I get it. Some people have to shop at Walmart because it's the cheapest place for them to get their groceries. And I don't judge you totally for it. If you have certain financial situations and you have to continue to do things a certain way, I get it. But if you can make little adjustments and changes as much as possible, it will all add up if all of us are doing it, even in little ways. You're not able to completely cut out American products in your life. I understand it's hard, but you can do as much as you can, and that will help. That's what I would say right there. Yeah, I love that, Stargate. Support the locals, the mom and pop. That's right. People like the Neal brothers, who are real people, two brothers that live in Ontario that make pasta sauce, like this jar I'm holding right here. Don't need no ragu. Don't get no Classico. Classico's in one of the worst, big, overwhelming corporate structures, is not a small time product. Classico sauce. No, don't get that. Neal Brothers sauce for you, and salsa too. They have a really good salsa and hot sauce. So any sauces by Neal Brothers. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying Ingram may be sitting there, love watching his favorite player go to work, excited knowing he's excited to get on the floor with him. Oh, you're talking about Jakob. You didn't fill that in because he did say he likes Jakob a lot. It's funny because I see Jakob on the bench, and Jakob was kind of a quiet player when he was younger and kept to himself. Maybe sometimes there's points where being the only Austrian player in the history of the NBA, he has a hard time relating to his teammates or maybe feeling like he bonds with them comfortably because he is a little bit of an aberration in the league in some ways as the only Austrian player in the whole entire league ever in the history of the NBA. But you can tell he really feels confidence and trust in his teammates, that he's opening up and being a more vocal leader and being more personable and talking to them, because he wasn't necessarily like that when he's young. Him and Pascal were very shy, kind of quiet people on the team, and they weren't very vocal people. They were kind of there as youngsters, kind of hanging around. Well, on Popovich's team, Jakob had to be a more vocal leader because he was one of the older players on the team and the leaders, and it carried over to here in Toronto, and he's evolved even more with that now. I saw some footage last night of him sitting on the bench with RJ in street clothes, and you could tell that RJ was asking him questions about what just happened on the court with him, and Jakob was going over it with him, and RJ had a real attention to and respect to what Yak was saying because he wanted to get the details and the information from him. So this has been a real good evolution of Jakob Poeltl becoming a more vocal leader in general around the Raptors, sharing his knowledge, because we got to remember that man went to the school of pop. And one of the professors at Pop University is Tim Duncan. So I mean, any kind of time that Jakob Poeltl spent with Tim Duncan in his Spurs days is very, very valuable to us now. Just think about this. And there may actually be some of the information that he learned from Tim Duncan being passed to Scottie, because in some ways, Yak may be like, yeah, Duncan, he told me this when I was in San Antonio. And well, I think you could do it because you're similar to him in this way, Scott. He's like, thanks, Yak. You're telling me what 21 from Virgin Islands, Tim Duncan, one of the greatest players, one of the most underrated, best players ever in the history of the NBA that gets forgotten about all the time, taught you this? Yeah, and I want to teach you this too, Scott, right now. This is going to make you a better all-star and better player in the NBA. You don't think that kind of conversation could have happened between Jakob Poeltl and Scottie Barnes, as far as saying, this is what Tim Duncan told me? Yeah, that shit's happening. It is, man. Fiercely saying, I know Jakob is my secret weapon and safe contributor to games, but I'm starting to appreciate O Rob as a backup. I think Kelly O was a better 4 than 5, but I'm also glad he's doing his thing in New Orleans. This is a great statement all around, and I agree with it. They're different, but I like that Orlando Robinson consistently brings physicalness and paint protection after Jakob comes out. And that's more important. In some ways, some of the problems the Raptors have had in past years is, sure, we have Jakob, and Jakob will hold down the fort while he's out there. But what happens when he goes out the court? Is there anybody who's a physical presence like him that can kind of hold the fort down? And Orlando is that. And that's part of the reason why I feel like he's a keeper. We got to keep him on and keep him around for next year, because he is showing that he can capably hold down the fort when Jakob is not able to hold down the fort. And that's important. That's really, really important. Kelly was not the same kind of hold down the fort guy. He could get run around in the lane all kinds of different ways. We saw it. Kelly, in some ways, his foot speed is not that great getting to spots and catching up on people that are coming at him in the lane. And that's true. I think it's true what you're saying is a better four than a five. In some ways, he's not a true five. He is a four, but he could masquerade as a five with dirty tricks and kind of very smart ways of covering up the deficiencies that he has. So yeah, I'm really glad that Kelly's landed on his feet and doing very well in New Orleans also, and he's happy. We do really much love Kelly Olynyk. His time on the Raptors was short in a way, but also in the same token, he's Team Canada and he's Canadian. He's going to be a Raptor alumni forever. And I don't hate him like I used to. Before he came to Toronto, I did. I used to hate him, but that was mainly because of Miami Heat versus Toronto playoff series from 2016. Is more because of that. Yeah, it's more because of that. Wayne's here. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Wayne. Always good to see you in the chat. Name is to say just another day in the lab for Yak. That's just what he does and misses virtually zero time from injury. Manufactured in Austria, just built different. Yeah, Yak has had a little bit of injury this year. He wasn't available for some parts of the year. But man, I'm really happy. Like, unlike last year at this time, we were not healthy at this time last year. And the quality of play on our court was suffering so bad. And we were losing so many games that were ugly, running around with JFL and Mohamedou Gay and Jordan Wara and the addition that we had at this time last year. Now, this was, as they pointed out in the broadcast last night, the heyday of Grady Dick, that in the second half of the season, when a lot of guys were out, Grady was all of a sudden flourishing and blossoming in the void of, Scottie and Yaka being out. So I like this end of the season, even though some people think we're supposed to be losing and tanking. I am enjoying winning much more than the losing at the end of last year and the playing of all the guys. And in fact, the 10 days and the 2 ways and the guys that were on our team last year have nothing on the guys that we have that we're playing this year and development minutes in the same kind of section of the season. That last year, in some ways, I was like, we got to get rid of these guys. I was thinking about that. Like at the end of the year, I was like, some of these guys are not going to be on the Raptors next year that are playing for them at the end of the season right now. And that was very much true. And this year, though, we're watching them play at the same section of the season. In some ways, some people think we should be losing like we were last year. But all these guys I see playing, a lot of them are saying, we want to keep these guys. We want to keep these guys. And that's a big difference from last year at this time, in the first year of Darko, and the second year of Darko at this point. That's right. That's right. That's right. Nameless is saying, can you imagine if Yak was not compensating for a team full of rookies? I don't think that he matters to him. That's the thing. He's not compensating for anything like that. In fact, he's helping them and encouraging them, and they're better for it. And that's part of the secret of the Raptors' success is they're all for one for all. They encourage and celebrate everybody's successes, and that makes it easier to elevate our rookie class into being much better professionals by the end of their first year in the league. That Emmanuel, RJ, Scottie, Jakob are not selfish to those guys with knowledge and understanding of how to be better. And because they're not putting up resistance or walls and they're very forthright and open, and because these youngsters are listening and they're respecting these leaders that know more, they are taking it in without any bullshit. This is how you extradite learning and development and getting better fast and fast, because there's a trust. There's an open level of communication. There's not holding back because you're worried people are going to come take your job and your minutes. And that's all part of it right there. So, yeah, he doesn't have to compensate for them because they're carrying their own weight is what I'm saying. Yeah. Stargate saying, and Yak was matched up against a pretty good center on the other side in Williams. So they can't say he was playing against anybody. Yeah, Williams had a good game. And then Nurkic coming in off the bench, he was manhandling a little bit of Orlando Robinson at times. And I always felt better with Nurkic against Pirtle because obviously they played against each other a lot and know each other very well. And Pirtle understands the dirty tricks that Nurkic might do physically. They have some pretty good centers in Charlotte, but Nurkic doesn't fit there. And I don't think he's going to be there very long. He may not even be in the league very long soon. Watch. Seriously. Williams is an interesting player. Mark Williams is a tough, big guy, and he had one of his best games I've seen him have. But he's not normally going to have a game like he did last night. I'm going to say that. Most saying Darko turning some heads around, lots of great things ahead. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I used this example earlier, the confusion about Taylor Jenkins. Well, this is the thing. Some people will say, all right, Taylor Jenkins got fired by the Grizzlies, and I saw a list of odds for his next job, and they had us on there. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Why are you putting him on there that he could be the next head coach of the Raptors? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because, and to be honest and fair, we had the least amount of odds of him coming to coach us on this list, but they wanted to put it on there like, Darko might be in trouble for losing his job this summer. I don't think there's any chance that Darko Rajakovic gets fired this summer. I think that some Raptors fans who are misguided and idiots will push for it and say, well, our record was so bad. He was horrible. He's going to get fired. Nobody thinks that knows the Raptors for real other than casuals that may call for Darko to get fired because of his win-loss record in the first 2 years, and maybe some of the stuff they don't understand about the moves and the tanking and the decisions with the development that they've done in the second half of the year. There may be a contingency of Raptors fans who are like, we need to fire Darko this summer. You're idiots. I'm going to say this right now. They will not fire him this summer because his vision and everything is not broken and is fantastic. Now, Taylor Jenkins, obviously something was broken there, that they had to make a rash decision to fire him. And I think that them putting the odds of him being the next Raptors coach, they should have just put 0. Because honestly, Darko's good. He's good. And Masai and Bobby see it. They're very pleased with what he's doing. He's not doing what Nick did and just going crazy. In some ways, he's winning, but he's not trying to. He's definitely checking the boxes of development and getting the young guys out there and giving them the time, which is something Nick did not do his last season as the Raptors coach. And that's part of why he got fired. So if you're going by track record for why Nick Nurse got fired, Darko's not doing what Nick did to get fired. He's developing the hell out of the players and very successfully. He's doing everything that Masai and Bobby asked him to. So why the fuck would he fire him? And honestly, all the guys are bought into him and the vibes are strong. And like I just said, everything's good in Raptor land. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And well, that's why, nobody should expect Darko to lose his job this offseason. Seriously. Name was saying Darko's already a top 5 coach in the league, but his value is being suppressed right now. It looks like the true value of certain digital assets. You know, he's going to be more and more known for this as the success comes for our team. Of course, he's not going to get any shine with the record and the futility that the Raptors have had his first 2 years, but he's building to something. And once again, I'll use the example of Dwayne Casey on our team. Dwayne Casey won the same amount of games as Darko did in his first year as the Raptors coach. And well, he built us all the way up to almost a championship by getting us to the Eastern Conference Finals over a couple of years. And I feel like this is the similar thing, that the path of Casey with the Raptors and his coaching career with us had stair steps to it, and they're coming up. And well, we've gone above the first step last year with having more wins this year, and we are definitely in a better place and position going into next year than we were at this time last year. So I would say that we're going to keep going up. And the stair steps are going to be there. And as we get into higher stair steps, then Darko will win a coach of the year. And it'll be something like Casey. Casey won a coach of the year. Hopefully we don't fire Darko after he gets it. Let's just put it that way. And of course, Raptors Delight made a big joke about that on their thing about firing the coach. In some ways, it was not classy and it was wrong, but it was the right move. And in some ways, Casey's at peace with it at this point. And he loves the Raptors, and he loves the Raptors championship, and he understands his part in it. And real ones like us understand his part in it too. So, yeah, let's keep going. Wayne saying, love, oh, Canada promotion. The rookies without Walter lack focus of a bucket getter. Shed and Walter are crucial for that second unit to execute Darko's schemes. Scottie's skill set makes Ingram's job easy. Yeah, I think that's another synergy that's going to be really fun to discover when Brandon finally joins the team on the court, is how is he going to play off Scottie? And all the fun stuff we're seeing with Scottie and RJ, Scottie and Emmanuel, Scottie and Yak. Well, let's think about Scottie and the BI3. That could be very, very fun to see. You like my O Canada product segment that I'm doing now? That's right. That's right. Get the goods on the Canadian goods. That's right. Neil Brothers is my company for today. Y'all get that Neil Brothers sauce. Get sauce right. That's right. Get that hot sauce. That's right. I'm going to agree with this about the rookies comment that Wayne's saying here. The rookies without Walter lack focus or bucket getter. I mean, I would say that, yeah, Jacoby's that role in that unit, but let's not get it twisted. Our bench is more than just our J-Rooks. Our bench is also going to be the Kansas Jayhawks. It's going to be Dick and Abaji. And in some ways, those guys can fill some of those roles in the absence of some of our starters also and step into them. And they're both proven starters already. And Jacoby's getting there too. I mean, Jamal, Jacoby, Grady, Oshai, they've all gotten a lot of starting this year. And that's good experience already in some ways. So we got to remember, it's not just the J-Rooks. In some ways, the J-Rooks are the third team. We have a second team between the starters and the J-Rooks that is going to be involved in our nucleus for next year. And that has people like Grady, Oshai, possibly Chris Boucher, possibly, somebody like Orlando Robinson would be considered in this group. There's some middle people that are kind of in between our rookies and between our legitimate starters. The BBBQ, Yak. That's right. Yeah. Name is saying what's really going to separate Darko is when people see his ability to adapt as his roster gains more experience. When you see his philosophies and strategies start to shift, then you people will know. Well, this is something that was mentioned by Masai and Bobby when they hired Darko that summer, is that they don't look at him as just a development coach, that he is going to be able to be that top level coach when we get to the higher levels also as a tactician, as being more like the Nick Nurse style of what got us the championship in 2019. They really did want to get this hire right, and I feel like they did. They got a very fantastic development coach that's already proven that in the first 2 years. And they think that they've also got a really good tactician, that strategy and playoff intensity and being on top of the game and managing the game and making on the fly adjustments better than Dwayne Casey is something that Darko has. And that is something they said explicitly when they first hired him, is that we look at this coach as a sustainable coach for different phases of what our franchise is going to go through. And that's what they meant when they said that. So that'll be fun. And I agree with Nameless. I think that when he gets to these stages, it'll be apparent and people will see that he can transition to being a coach with those kind of strengths as we get more successful. And I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I really am. Stargate staying at Nameless. I believe that as well. I've mentioned before that I believe Darko has had different systems already in place for next season. This is his developmental system we are seeing now. And he's bumping him up and saying he agrees also. Yeah, no, I can see this. I mean, that's what they're saying right now. And in some ways, the aptitude of Jamal Shed, Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Pertl, they're able to see the future that Darko sees because he can explain it to them. And they're high IQ players that understand basketball philosophy and the way the game's going. And they understand, wow, coach really does have his shit together. And in some ways, the vision he's explaining to us, like in the next couple of years, I love it. It's badass. And we can share the vision with him and work towards it with him because we can see it also. That's the thing. That's half of getting your team to buy into you, is you have a vision for what the team can be built into and grow into. And do they viably, realistically see that you're capable and that you guys can actually do it? They are all bought in. They can see it. They can all see it. And you're right. This is just the development time, and there's going to be more advanced and more complicated and more interesting stuff coming in the years to come as they stay together and get more comfortable and trusting together. They will build layers on top of the foundations of what they've already built. Last year was a foundation. They had to strike down the old house in the first half of the season and tear it down and lay a new foundation of good vibes with Kelly Olynyk and Oshai Abaji arriving from Utah and Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett coming from New York. And they built that layer of concrete, the foundation, maybe even the basement at the second half of last year. And we just built like the first floor, maybe just the floor of the first floor. And we're going to put up the walls around it. And then we're going to keep building. We'll put another story on top of it next year. That's what I'm saying. This is preliminary stages, development stages to build something bigger than what they are right now. And Darko has a whole big picture that's already, hey, he talks about it all the time. Scottie, he says that I talked to Scottie about the big picture. I talked to him about the goals. I talked to him about what we're doing. I mean, we had George St. Pierre come in this week. And when he came in and talked to us, and he said, it's not about the fear. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's about the objective. And what's the objective? Everything else doesn't matter. Just focus on the objective. What is the objective? And you'll get there. Forget about your family. Forget about your fears. Forget about your worries. Just worry about the objective and focus wholly on it. It's smart because St. Pierre coming in and talking to the Raptors on Open Gym. It shows that Darko, and they had him last year, and apparently the Raptors asked for him to come back. They're like, man, we so enjoyed St. Pierre coming here last year and giving us a pep talk last season. It was like Darko, he's one of my cool friends now, and I could get him anytime. So he called George. George comes down. He does a little fake fight with Jamal Shed and Scottie Barnes, and he teaches them some of his mindset and what made him successful as an MMA fighter. And that's smart. That's smart. That's what I'm saying. There's an objective. There's a big picture that the Raptors can all see with their coach, Darko, directing it and showing them, and they believe it, and they're going for it because they can see tangible success in the little things he's asked them to do. They can see the big picture and the path that they can get to, and they believe that they can do it. And that's it, the objective. It's amazing. I love seeing it, and especially in the early stages, you don't totally understand it, but you can see how it may calcify and solidify and come about more and more. Yeah, Name was saying you must crawl before you can walk. Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're talking about right here. Name was saying Darko has a vision from development. I didn't even see that. I just scrolled it up. I didn't see your comment. I just scrolled it up and saw it now. DK saying tomorrow versus the Sixers. Yeah, yeah. Name was saying I'm AJ's biggest fan from the moment I saw him. Yeah, it's funny that segment with Roy Woods where they were doing the Toronto slang with Jamal and Jacoby. I didn't realize AJ was to the side grading them. And there was one thing that Roy Wood said, and Jamal was like, "What did you even say?" I'm gonna have to hear AJ say it in a sentence. And it's that Brampton slang. It's that Toronto slang that they got out there and stuff. But I was like, I loved it because Jacoby was really proud of himself for getting the answers and doing pretty good on it. And Roy Woods was like, "Yeah, you guys know your Toronto man slang. That's pretty good." And Jacoby's like, I'm here," and he's like so happy. In some ways, I like that because it shows that they want to be, Raptors. They want to be part of the culture. They want to be Toronto culture. If they're going to be doing slang lessons with Roy Williams and AJ Lawson, yeah, they want to be here. I love it. I love it. G saying Jamal is a winner. He has that it factor. Yeah, he is. Fred has it. We've seen Fred VanVleet. He came from the Shockers with it, and Jamal comes from the Cougars with it too. And it's shown in decision making. He kind of broke it down after the game about his decision making to stop shooting the three and start going in the lane to make the layups that he did early in the game. That was really, really mature and smart. An unconscious player would just continue to shoot threes and miss them over and over again. No, he had to go and get baskets. The Raptors needed to score, and he was going in the land of the Giants. And he was putting up layups over outstretched arms with nice spin off the backboard and just really masterful ways. He can score near the basket really well. In fact, I might even say this already, that in some ways he finishes near the basket better than Fred used to. Fred would struggle finishing in the lane with traffic around him. But Jamal has a certain more level of athleticism. He did dunk again. And, he has the same amount of dunks this season as Joel. Just so you know, a little fun fact. Joel Embiid has the same amount of dunks in this NBA season as Jamal Shed does as of last night. It's just really smart that he knows how to finagle the shots just up and over out of the reach of the defense so close to the basket. And he's doing it with spin. He's doing it off high glass. He's doing it in tricky, very high-level ways. Very, very much, yeah. Fiercely saying our defensive specialists are Jacoby, Scottie, AJ, Oshai, Shed, and now I've noticed IQ and RJ also stepped up. It's infectious. And when they trust, and the thing is they've been really building on things. Like they asked Darko, what's the difference between the beginning of the season's defense and this season? It's really they've worked harder and harder at getting better and understanding and trusting each other and communicating. And they're like in some cases last night, like Alvin said in the replay, they're switching perfectly. Like they just did a 3-man switch on the outside on the Hornets, and nobody lost their man, and they did it exactly perfect. Like that's what I'm saying. The training and the practice of doing it and the repetitions is paying off because over the course of the season, the guys actually trust and understand what they're supposed to do better and better off each other, and they're doing such a good job. It's very complicated switching off of picks and stuff that offenses are trying to do to get guys free, and they are switching around that very, very top-notch ways where there's no coverage getting lapsed. That if the picks and all the confusion of what the Hornets are trying to do to get a shooter free, the Raptors are getting around the pick smart, and they're covering the distance, and there's no good shot for them still. And that's an effort and organization and communication right there. That is right there. Right there. And I don't even know. I mean, obviously, Scottie's our best defensive player at this point, although Jakob could be in the ring for that. But I'm just saying, a lot of our guys are very good defensive-minded first players. And, Jacoby's saying it the same way, too. Like, he's more worried about being a good defender as a rookie and a player than his offense and trying to be more of an offensive player. So, that's a philosophy that's on this team. These guys are putting defense first over their own selfish offensive wants. And that's a great quality about the Raptors right now. And it's not common in this league. Let's just put it that way. It's not common. Fierce has got Darko on blast. I love to see that. Smooth saying the Suns punished Nurkic. He didn't get along with KD. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A couple of stops, you've been kind of bullshit. It's like they traded headaches between Portland and Phoenix when Ayton went to Portland and Nurkic came to Phoenix. And well, Nurkic and KD didn't get along. It's like a lot of people ain't getting along with KD right now. I'm just going to say that. But Nurkic does seem like an abrasive guy and kind of an arrogant guy right now. And he doesn't seem like he's long for this league. I'm going to tell you right now. Like when you find yourself on Charlotte all of a sudden and you're historically a scorer as a vet, as a starter, and you're not getting to start there, that's a little bit of a scary wake-up call that you may be a couple feet away from stepping out of the league for good. I would say the same thing for Grant Williams, honestly, and Marcus Smart on Washington. These guys are all on the similar kind of like, okay, you're at this point and you're on this team and you're in this position. Okay, you might be out of the league soon, is what I would say right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Wayne's saying every season we have a new player that we know isn't quite there yet. But if they apply themselves, adapt, and learn, we just like and want to succeed here. Orlando Robinson is that player. We value him. He's taking care of certain building blocks and certain prerequisite mandatory things a center needs to do. And those are the things I care about. All the extra shit, like making threes, is not as important, but it is a very valid and helpful weapon. But the things I care about, once again, is paint protection, holding it down, rebounding, being aggressive in rebounds, and being aggressive with physicality. And having a certain level of toughness for the Raptors out on the court when Pirtle is not on the court. That is what I love about him. And he is a true center. That's the other thing I love about him. We're not trying to come in with one true center as our starter, and we play like a Kelly off the bench as our backup center. In some ways, it was effective and fine. In some ways, he did the passing stuff at the 5 that Jakob does. And Orlando's not going to do it as well. But the trade-off is you're getting a real good defensive center that's a true center off the bench instead of a 4 that's kind of a passer like Kelly is. So, I value him too. And I think he does have a future with us. And I think you're exactly right, Wayne, that there's some stuff that he's going to grow into if we hold on to him and keep him around and keep developing him. Some of it is he has very promising offensive skills. There was a moment last night where he kind of got left away by the defense of Charlotte. And his decision was to go ahead and call his own number and go into the lane, dribble a little bit, and make an easy shot. And he executed it perfectly fine. And when he's stepping up and stepping into a three-point shot all of a sudden, and it's the only 3 he takes and he makes it, that looks real good too. So he does have a real offensive side to him that goes along with the defensive stuff that I really love already that, could be down the road. Reggie's saying Joseph Nurkic was critical of the Suns team before he was banished. Yeah, I mean, whatever. The dude seems like he's toxic at this point. I get toxic vibes from him. And the way he wasn't really communicating correctly with his Hornets teammates kind of showed it. Yeah, Blackhawks saying 8 games left. Don't let up, Darko. Yeah, tomorrow, Philadelphia. You don't think we're going to try and sweep the Sixers and Nick Nurse tomorrow? Yeah, we will. And I'll bet you we will sweep them tomorrow. Right now, I'm going to say it right now. We're going to beat the Sixers tomorrow. Of course, it's probably likely that we'll see IQ and Jakob sit out against the Sixers, and RJ and Oshai will return. It's going to be that kind of flip for the rest of the season. And well, I feel real confident that we'll beat their ass. Seriously. And I love the whole idea of sweeping Nick this season. I really do. I really do like it because think about it. The first game of this first time we played them this year was the second game of the season, and we're coming off a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers in our home opener. And at that point, Philadelphia was supposed to be the one of the top teams in the whole entire league competing for a championship, and we beat their ass the first time we played them. So this sweep of the Sixers that we'll hopefully get tomorrow is not a cheap one. Some of the wins are in this period of the season, but that first time we beat the Sixers was a bona fide win over the legitimate Sixers that they had healthy at the beginning of the year. And people need to remember that. People need to remember that. That's right. Stillman's here. Good to see Stillman in the YouTube chat, not just the Facebook chat. Always good to see you, Stillman. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Looking at the remaining games, and we can get to 32 wins this season with also keeping our 7th pick. I like that mentality. Some of it is staying within the frame, the bracket between the Spurs and the teams that are above us and staying above Brooklyn and Philly. I don't think we should try and tank out the chase Brooklyn and Philly. Go ahead and let them be losers and fight each other for that little spot. Just stay where we are confidently. And I think that you may be right that we could get away with getting up to 32, but we got to only do that only if the Spurs and the teams above us go above with their win total for sure. And I'll go look at it right now. We'll go look at it as of today, this morning, as far as like the leeway that we have and the overall league, as far as being the 7th worst team in the league right now. Right now we are currently, we've widened the gap, and we are now 3.5 games ahead of Philadelphia. So in some ways, it doesn't matter if we beat them tomorrow, guys. In some ways, we help them get below the Nets, but in some ways, it doesn't help our position if we lose to them. It doesn't matter because we're not going to catch them. In some ways, they're so bad, they're going to lose out, and we shouldn't be trying to uh, make that the emphasis for the rest of the years. Try and catch the Nets and the Sixers and get below them. I think being right in between, and right now the Spurs have 31 wins. So they would have to win at least 2 more games for us to do what Stillman's saying and be safe, basically. And that's very doable. I think that the Spurs probably will win 2 more games. So I have no problem with what he's saying. I don't know if we'll get to 32, though. Although we're at 27, that's only 5 more games out of 8. That's very doable. That's very doable. And I think Stillman might be right. 32 wins for the season's fantastic, guys. 33 wins for the season. Hey, that's way better than we thought we'd do. Some of us, at least. Blackhawks saying the Grizzlies firing is probably related to the fight on the bench. So you guys think it has to do with the Aldama thing with Desmond Bain or something? Who was it that fought? It's Aldama and somebody else, right? You said it earlier in the chat. Man, I mean, whatever it is, this is stupid. They should have fixed it and gotten people to the right place, because this is much worse coming into the playoffs unprepared and scrambling with a new coach all of a sudden. It is a little bit like Nick Nurse cutting out on us right before the Olympics. But seriously, that was not ideal. And in some ways, it's similar. It's on a different time scale. It's actually faster that is more in trouble for them. And in some ways, we had to scramble after Nick was gone and hire Jordy and try and ramp up into things. And that was not ideal, man. That was not ideal at all. Although Jordy had a year before the Olympics, he did the World Cup. But I'm just saying, this is like that, but even worse with even less time. And they're trying to scramble and put this new coach in charge and do it all under him. Man, I wouldn't have done this, Grizzlies. I would have avoided firing Jenkins at least until after everything was done for the year. It's very, very weird. Yeah. Yeah. Smooth saying it's very odd, them firing Taylor. It's very, very odd. Very odd. Nago saying Samson Falk mentioned there's scouts that really like Shed. Okay. There's scouts that like everybody in all kinds of different places around the league. I don't give a shit about scouts. These motherfuckers coming around. Well, I don't want them looking at them, Nako. Seriously. Scouts for who? Scouts for other teams, scouts for the Lakers, scouts for other teams that want to come and vulture our good young talent. Fuck that shit. I hate that comment, Nako. I don't give a shit if there's scouts coming to watch our players. They're not scouts. They're just people that work for teams that have to watch the whole entire teams and get them ready for when they play us. So, yeah, there's a Philadelphia scout that probably watched our game against the Nets, and they say, oh, that Shed guy's good. But hopefully they're saying that Walter guy's good and that Battle guy's good, and they're scouting the whole damn team. But I fuck this shit. I hate this comment, Naka. I don't care if Samson Falk mentioned this. Of course, people around the league see who Shed is, and coaches understand he's a good player, and they'd love to have him on their team. Of course. Of course. Neil said, I heard Barnes punched one of his teammates in the huddle. Oh, Baines. You said Baines. I didn't see that there was no R in there. I heard Baines. It's not Baines anyway. It's just Bain. Desmond Bain. There's no S. That's why you messed me up there, Neil. I thought you said Barnes. I'm like, who did Barnes punch out in the cuddle? I don't remember Scottie hitting no teammate. So it was Bain hit Santi Aldama, and that's the cause of all this. Well, it doesn't sound like they're the ones who need to be fired. That Taylor is the one who need to be fired. It sounded like maybe somebody need to be traded or suspended or maybe benched in the doghouse for a little while. I don't get this. We may never know the mystery of the Grizzlies firing Taylor Jenkins yesterday. We may never know. Let's see. Stargate saying, QQ, if the playoffs ended now, who would the Grizzlies play in the first round? Is it the Lakers? Let me leave that alone. This is very interesting. All right. I see what our guy's doing here. Oh, man, I love Stargate. He is an ultimate conspiracy theorist. And in some ways, I see what he's doing here. Is this true, what he's saying right now? Yes. Right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are tied with the Lakers for the record. And right now, I guess the tiebreaker goes to the Lakers because they're sitting in the 4th spot, and the Grizzlies are sitting in the 5th spot. Wow. Okay, this is deep level shit. So in some ways, two of the most bizarre instances for the season are both beneficial for the Lakers. Luka going to the Lakers and Taylor Jenkins getting fired at the end of the season, and it's likely that they're going to play the Lakers in the first round. Wow, Stargate. You know what? You just opened my eyes up to something that is very insidious and could be possibly true. But I don't know, man. Maybe somebody saw some threads on the Grizzlies system and their coaching and whatever, and they saw a thread and they just pulled it. And well, this stuff happens. This does seem like this does favor the Lakers. Stargate, even though I don't totally encourage your conspiracy theory stuff all the time, I'm going to go behind you on this and kind of believe. I'm going to give you a dunk. I'm going to give you a dunk for this. In some ways, I should not encourage your conspiracy theory activities. But in some ways, I'm like you, and I want to believe. 42 on the dunk charts for Stargate. That's a very interesting thing you pointed out. Most saying they had shirts on the seats, and we had to finish the lyrics to Drake's songs to win a Goat Night fanny pack. Cool. Yeah, I saw those shirts. They were OVO music shirts, and there was a little bit of a Raptor thing on them. The style, the graphic on it, I didn't totally like it. I don't like shirts that are like a square and they're like weird like that. I don't know. That's just me personally, but they seem like nice shirts. And it's nice to see that the MLSC is not being cheap and they're actually giving out shirts to the crowd again en masse. And of course, it's always fun to see our arena before it's got people in it with the shirts all draped over all the seats. It's always visually really cool to see. Of course, we've done fun things in the past, like do our flag colors, like a white in the middle and red on the edges. We saw it in the open gym episode this week. You know, that kind of stuff is fun. We've come a long way, Raptors franchise, from giving the clackers to mess up the free throws the wrong side. So we're doing it to our own team to wearing red shirts in the crowd. And the team we're playing against in the playoffs is wearing red. In some ways, I would go Stargate on this and say that was an NBA manufactured thing to make us look bad, that wasn't our fault. That I don't know, the franchise needs to pay attention to the colors that we're wearing and not put the crowd in the same color as the opposing team. That's important. There may be some book in the Raptors franchise organization somewhere where it's like rules to not do. And they're all like mistakes that we made in the past. Do not trade Vince Carter to the Nets for Alonzo Mourning, you know, stuff like that. Don't put the clackers on the wrong side of the court when people are shooting free throws. Don't put the crowd in the same color as the opposing team when we play in the playoffs. There's probably all the lessons that we've had to learn the hard way as a franchise that are somewhere in a secret vault that Masai can go look at and say, yeah, we can't do this, guys, because we put the red shirts out in the crowd, and the Nets were wearing red that game, and we weren't. And it looked like our crowd was for the Nets. Yeah, it was pretty dumb. Pretty dumb stuff. But yeah, the shirts on the crowd, I love seeing those shirts back on the seats. And MLSC still spending some money for the fans in that way. I like that. You had to sing the Drake songs to get a fanny pack, though. That's interesting. I hope you got one, Mo. I hope you got one. Let's see. Reggie's saying, I saw on Locked On Raptors, Toronto has a 90% chance at staying at 7. I'm thinking 1 or 2 more wins to close the season out. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be 1 or 2. I think we're going to win more. I think we'll win like somebody was just saying 32, something like that. I think we're going to get to 30 wins at least, if not to 32. And that's only 5 more wins out of the last 8 games. And I could see that. We win 3 out of the last 8, we're at 30. We win 4 out of the last 8, we're at 31. So, I don't think we're going to play 50% ball. And we've already established that March is a winning month for our season. We've got enough wins this March, 9 of them, that we're not going to have a losing record in the month of March. Now, we'll see what happens in April when we flip the calendar in a couple days. We'll see what happens there. Rich Porco's here. Good morning, Rich Porco. Interesting name. Welcome to the channel. We talk Raptors every morning live on a live stream, and I read all the comments. So if you're a big Raptors fan, this is your place. If you want to react to daily Raptors events and games, this is a great place to do it. LeBron said Giannis could score 250 points in a game in the 1970s. The most points Kareem scored in his career was 55. So is Giannis better than Kareem, or is LeBron trolling? Yeah, Giannis didn't agree with LeBron when he said this. He said it's not fair to compare eras, and he's right. I don't agree with this. I think this is wrong. I think this is very wrong. I think that a lot of young people really don't give enough credit to the hard work and how intensely physical the old NBA is. And they just don't understand the difference. The difference is, sure, the guys now are more talented and maybe more athletically gifted, but the guys back then were willing to punch you in the face and knock your teeth out. And that's the thing. Giannis could start doing his shit in the game, in a 70s game back in the day. He could be very successful for a while, but at some point, somebody's going to put him on his ass. And at that point, I don't know how he'd react, especially if that person's somebody like Wes Unseld or, like Nate Thurman or something like that, Artis Gilmore. There were some big dudes back in the league that were enforcers that had the mentality of Charles Oakley. And if Antetokounmpo was back in that era and he was doing certain stuff, they'd probably put his ass on the floor. And if he was not tough enough to handle that and know that he's going to get a lot of cheap shots going forward, he's not getting that amount of points. I think that's inflated. He could maybe get something similar to what Kareem did, 55 or maybe even up to 70. But getting like that many points, that's ridiculous. The teams don't even score that much points back then. That's LeBron trolling. And Giannis is being very graceful and politically smart because he's not dissing the old crowd. He's saying we shouldn't try and compare eras. It's just futile. Why do this? It was a totally different time. And that's the thing I would tell young fans. He may have the talent to do that if nobody's touching him, but somebody's going to put him on the floor just like Charles Oakley would or Artis Gilmore would, is what I would say to that. Rich, great question. I appreciate it. I hope I answered it in a way that makes sense. So we're saying they still have to play the Sixers, the Bulls, the Trailblazers, the Pistons, the Nets, and the Hornets. Yeah, some of those games very winnable. Detroit will be tough. We'll have to see. The Bulls are surging right now, and they have a lot of good feelings, and they're not totally trying to lose right now. So that game may be more in play, the Bulls and the Pistons. But the rest of those games are against shitty teams that are not trying to win right now. And that's the interesting thing right there. Yeah, Monique saying, I met the late John Butler's family last night. Open gym forever. Such a beautiful moment. Miss you, John. Always got to meet the graphic guy for Open Gym, Chris and Moore. That's awesome. So Mo, once again, was with Giants of Africa friends and also just Raptors friends from the, around the Raptors organization. and including the open gym people. And of course, John Butler passed untimely in the last year or so, and it's really sad. And it's great that she's remembering him with his former coworkers, and yeah, that's fantastic, and also his family. So good stuff, Mo. I love to hear that. And of course, you are a part of the Raptors organization as the super fan, and I appreciate that you frequent our channel here, and you're a part of the Raptor Freak family also. So yeah, it's good on the Venn diagram of things. Trust me. Yeah, G saying Smooth will like this. Kevin Pillar, former Blue Jay, made some nice comments about Toronto to offset what some of the NBA players have said recently. Yeah, yeah, that's weird. I know Kevin Pillar kind of got it from our city because of bad comments. Very um uh what's the right word? Um, they were they were wrong. They were wrong. They were very, very wrong comments about gay people. And in some ways, he heard it from Toronto as a city, and he still loves Toronto, and he doesn't have any problem with it. That's pretty awesome. I like that about Kevin Pillar, because in some ways he was kind of made out to be a bad dude when he left. Now the funny thing is, Rudy Gay's not trying to be a diplomat. He's an idiot. Now he has this whole thing talking about how we have a weak ass accent up here. So as Raptors admin do, they're gonna get Roy Woods and they're gonna get Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter and AJ Lawson to do a Toronto man slang thing. And it's like, what is this? Why are you talking about weak ass accent? What are you talking about? The weak ass accent? Are you talking about the stuff that Roy Woods was doing with our rookies? Or are you talking about, well, hey, what's it all about? Well, let's go to their store, is that what you're fucking talking about, Rudy Gay? I don't give a shit what you're talking about. And anyway, why are you opening your mouth about this? This is not helping things. You say, I don't understand why they hate me. I didn't ask to get traded to them or traded away from them. You just sound stupid. You don't even hear yourself at this point. At this point, I don't understand why they hate me. You're an idiot, Rudy Gay. And you're not helping the hole. You keep digging deeper, honestly. You say something about the accent. What do you mean when you say that? What are you talking about? The accent. Canadians talk funny, all this kind of shit. Canadians are from all around the world. We all talk differently. There's people in Canada that you could have the accent from all around the world right here. In fact, motherfucker, I'll come at you with a Southern United States accent real quick, because I'm a American Canadian, as crazy as that sounds. It's true, and raised in the South. So it's like you can hear me at the grocery store and I'll be talking in a Southern drawl. So what are you talking about Canadian accents, Rudy Gay, with your bullshit? You're not helping things. In some ways, you need public relations. In some ways, you need an agent that's going to advise you to shut the fuck up right now is what you need, man. That's what you need, bro. Reggie's saying, yeah, Kevin Pillar, currently with the Texas Rangers. He's always loved it here. Yeah, he was a very popular Blue Jay for a while until he said something stupid. But a lot of people still really do love him from Blue Jays Nation. They really, really do. Yeah. All right. Where's the comment where I need to be? Blah 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 blah. Blah. Hang on. I skipped ahead. I got to get back. I got to get back to it. Here we go. Where are we? Where are we? Holy crap. I got a lot of comments. It's fine. We can do till 3 hours. But Monique, give me my cutoff for sure, please. Please, just in case. Because, wow, you guys fill it up. I like that you guys are talking a lot today. Blackhawks saying Spurs need to win 5 games. Portland and Miami need to win 4 for us to keep 7. And if we win all of our remaining 8, we get 35 wins. Spurs have the chance of us passing them. Mavs and Spurs to close it out. Yeah, now the Spurs are kind of involved in that last play-in battle with the Mavs and the Suns. And I don't know, what's it looking like right now? Who currently is in that spot? Dallas is in it currently right now, but they're 1 game ahead of Phoenix right now in the standings. And Portland's involved in this race too. I need to add them in there too. They're only 4 games out. Spurs are 4 games out. Suns are 1 game out. And the Dallas Mavericks are still sitting in that last playing spot on the western side right now. Yeah, name is saying, Scottie, stop buying designer clothes. They're actually marketed towards poor people, not the rich. Yeah, I mean, I don't totally agree with some of Scott's branding choices. Balenciaga has kind of got some baggage with it. I mean, of course, he's also been seen in a picture with a Cybertruck this season. Gross. I mean, Scott is Scott. In some ways, you got to let Scottie be Scottie. And I got to remember, Scottie, even though he's more worldly and more mature and learning the NBA, he's still at some point a little bit of the kid that he just showed up in the NBA like he was in the first season. There's still that guy in there somehow, some way, a little bit. But he has matured and he has grown as a man, and he really does stand on his own man business. I don't know. In some ways, Scotty, man, he can't do no wrong with me for the most part. And I'm not going to nitpick about what brands he wants to push. I'll push Neil Brothers instead and say, Neil Brothers, y'all, get some pasta sauce. That's what I'll say instead. I'm balancing out that. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Truly wealthy people do not wear designer clothes. Yeah, I agree with that too. But you've got to understand where Scott comes from. He came and got it out of the mud, and he has more money than he could have ever imagined at this point. And in some ways, he's going to do what he's going to do, and let him do it because he deserves it, and he's earned it. How about that? That's what I'll say right there. Yeah, very true, Nameless. I like the sentiment what he's saying, and I completely agree with what Nameless is saying. But I'm not going to chastise our franchise player for it. It's his life. It's his money. Let him do what he wants. I may not agree with it. I may not be like, I wouldn't do that. But, it's his life. Let him do that, man. Let him do that. Yeah. Kaz is saying, facts, Nameless. I don't know why people pay like $500 for a t-shirt. It's stupid. Sometimes it's just the statement of like, yeah, I'm so well off, I can burn money. And that's the sad thing. There's a lot of ugly, awful people that have a lot of money that they can just burn while people are starving and losing their homes. That's why wealth inequality is a big, huge problem in this world today. And it's only going to get worse with the government that's running the United States right now. In fact, they're trying to crush people. They want people to die. Let's just put it that way. They want people to die on a mass scale, and they have no sympathy and caring about it in any kind of way. If they cut Social Security like they're talking about, millions of Americans will die, and unnecessarily. In fact, the blood will be on Elon Musk and Donald Trump's hands. And you know what? You have people die in your life that you care about, you start to fucking radicalize, and you start to come up against the forces that put them there. And that's the thing they don't understand. Like, they're already worried about different elections right now. Like, there's a snap election in Wisconsin about the Supreme Court. There's some elections in Florida. They're going on, and Elon's just throwing money at them. He literally told people, I will give you $1 million check if you vote the way I want you to. He's trying to buy American elections right now. Well, the thing that they're not realizing is they're so unpopular that they're going to be losing in all kinds of places they never lost before. Places where Republicans have held strongholds for years because of what they're doing right now. And this is the only way, peacefully, in some ways, the Americans can fix their system right now, is they need to reject everything that's going on with Trump and them in the ballot box and vote them the fuck out. If they don't do this and it continues, there will have to be a blood-fueled revolution. And that's not what anybody wants. If that system of democracy in the United States is truly a system that the founding fathers built, that they intended nothing like this to happen, what's happened recently, if it's going to survive, there's going to have to be some following and some fighting, and the people have to be united. And in some ways, there may be some very ugly, violent shit that's going to have to happen for us to get out of this Trump era right now. And we'll be better for it, because in some ways, the nightmare of what's happening with Trump right now is going to be a very good reminder to people about being vigilant about democracy, freedom, and their rights. And you get them taken away from you, you have to go through a bad period of time where things are fucked up. People that you love died unnecessarily because of poor political decisions at the top. Then, people would want change. They will very much want change. And a lot of people are already mobilized and trying to do something about this, but it's going to build more and more. Bernie Sanders is being very successful at getting people activated and out there and protest. In fact, today, there's protests going on all around North America at over 500 different Tesla locations. If you have a Tesla location near you, there's a bunch of people out in front of it today protesting, and you could go join them if you really want to. So I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm on that little tangent for a second there. And yeah, wealth inequality is a big, huge problem in this world today. People that can buy $500 t-shirts and then throw them out after wearing them once, while people can't even feed their children. That's fucked up. And countries should be ashamed of that kind of setting. is what I'm saying. They shouldn't be feeling like they're doing good, man. They're doing good. When I found out Scottie likes Supreme, I cringed. Well, we got to remember he's a kid, and in some ways, he's younger. He's in a different age bracket than a lot of us, and in some ways, he's into the things that he feels like would be cool that he dreamed about being into when he was younger, and he couldn't. Let's just put it that way. And I can't fault him for that. In some ways, I don't understand his mind because I'm not his age and I don't have his life experience. And in some ways, if he wants to buy Supreme products, that's his choice. I'm not going to get mad at him for that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is not a problem to me. Yeah. It's literally the worst investment you can possibly make. Well, maybe they need to tell these rookies when they come in about bad investing in the rookie financial classes. Don't buy Supreme. It's like the worst because you're paying so much for nothing. Yeah. Smooth saying $1,200 minimum for a moose knuckles coat. I mean, Scotty has had some pretty interesting. He had that mink coat the other day. I know he probably got backlash from PETA people that care about animals, and they don't like to see him wearing real fur, which he probably was wearing real fur. But in some ways, Scotty don't give a fuck. In some ways, Scotty's gonna be Scotty. And I don't want to make controversies out of this kind of stuff. The thing I had the biggest problem with what he's done recently is being in the picture with the Cybertruck. It's just not a good look right now, Scott. It's just not a good look. You do not want to tie yourself into anything Elon right now. Just trust me. Name is saying with zero interest or resale value. Yeah, that's a winter coat. There you go. $1,200 for a winter coat. Well, some people like to show off they have prestige because they say, oh, this is so expensive. You wouldn't even know. This is more than your house. That kind of bullshit mentality, whatever. In some ways, it's a propaganda that's been pushed on us for a long, long time in the media about trying to show off and being like this. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Robin Leach, motherfucker. That's right. Stargate saying, why you say keep 7? How is the 7th significant? Does it mean we have the 7th pick? Does it mean we have 7 ping pong balls? Why is it so much important to put on the 7? When I say keep 7, I mean stay in the 7th position in the bottom of the standings. It's not the pick. It's that we're currently 7th worst team in the league. There's 6 teams below us with worse records. And the space between the 8th worst team and the 5th worst team and us is separating. And we're staying in the 7th spot. As somebody said earlier, we have a 90% chance now to stay in the 7th spot as far as 7th from the bottom. And the ping pong ball's chances is not going to change from that. So that's what we say when the 7th. It's not that we have the pick already. And then we don't have the 7th pick. I'm saying we're in the 7th position from the bottom of the league. And what we're doing right now is we're dealing with wins and losses and where the Spurs are above us and the Trailblazers and where the Nets and the Sixers are below us. And there's breathing room at both the top and the bottom so that we won't shift down to 6th or 5th at this point, which is what tank people want. And we probably won't shift up to 8 or 9 either because there's separation in the standings is what I'm trying to say, Sargate. Does that make sense to you? That we're probably going to stay at 7th for the end of the season as far as the 7th worst team in the NBA. And it doesn't have to do with the pick because we were the 7th worst team in the NBA after the season in Tampa. And we picked Scottie at 4th. So that's it right there. Wayne's saying, side issue. Don't really care. However, people taking a bus telling me I shouldn't buy a convertible because it snows. When it snows, I drive my other vehicle. Yeah. Okay, I don't totally understand that, Wayne. I don't totally understand what you're saying. Side issue. Don't really care. However, people taking a bus telling me I shouldn't buy a convertible because it snows. When it snows, I drive my other vehicle. I don't understand that totally. I don't understand that completely. I maybe that your point isn't totally clear. Like, is that a saying or is that something that actually happened to you? Or like who's what? You don't want the people that take the bus to tell you not to drive your car? Or is it you're talking for Scotty or something? I don't get this at all, Wayne. I'm totally lost on your comment. And that's why I think Stargate's saying what? Stargate's saying, oh boy, Jenkins coaching the Spurs? Yikes, especially if Wemby is ready to go next season. Look out. That's what I'm saying. I think that that's a good fit, and that's what the Spurs fans want. They hate Mitch Johnson. They don't want him to continue, and they're looking past. Some of them are very big on bringing Becky back and having Becky be the next coach for the Spurs, taking off from the Las Vegas Aces. There's a real consternation with the Spurs franchise that it's not going to be Mitch Johnson, and they don't think Popovich is coming back. So, Kaz saying, yeah, his kids are salty for sure. His kids are salty for sure. Whose kids? Whose kids? Who are we talking about? Man, we got to use proper nouns, guys, because I don't know. His kids are salty for sure. Whose kids? I will say this. Last night against the Hornets in the Scotiabank Arena, in the second half, there was a bunch of DR DeRozan sounding fans. When the Hornets were shooting free throws, we heard some screeching, and it kind of made me have PTSD for a second about that playing game. But they were doing it when the Hornets were shooting. So it's like, oh, we got a bunch of DR DeRozan wannabes at the Scotiabank Arena screaming when the Hornets are shooting. I love that. I love that. That's good. Yeah. Most saying W stream, W vibes. There's my cutoff right there. We got about 20 minutes, and I'll finish up with 3 hours. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just help limit in the comments. I appreciate that, Mo. I really do really appreciate that so much. Kaz is saying, I never understood players like Gene and Jackie Chan that won't leave a cent for their kids. Unreal. Yeah, I didn't know that about Jackie Chan. And in some ways, I do know that Jackie Chan, actually, I did know that Jackie Chan has a child that is like living in poverty, that he will not help. I mean, everybody's different on their stances of things. Some parents believe, you bring in the person into the world, they're your responsibility. Some people believe, well, yeah, I brought you in this world, you're on your own now, and you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet. I mean, I don't know. I think this is deeper than that kind of stuff. I think that there was really some serious problems with Gene Hackman and his children that just as they're adults, right? Because he's a lot older, that just never got rectified. And at a certain point, it's easier to rectify things when people are kids, but when you get into adult areas and there's a rift, sometimes there's pride and there's all kinds of dumb stuff happening. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's really telling, though, and sad, and in some ways a cautionary tale, that I don't know if Gene Hackman felt like he needed to have some provision in his will that what if the families do not collect my body and I'm just going to sit in a morgue for a month because nobody's come to claim me. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that is crazy to me. When I found that out, I was like, holy crap. And that's why you said that. Kaz is saying, yeah, his kids are salty for sure. So you're talking about Gene Hackman. Okay, I got it now. There's so much we talk about. And, I talked about this an hour ago, and now we come around to it. That's why I want all proper nouns. No he, she, they. It's got to be subject, name, predicate, because I'm not going to know who you're talking about if it's an hour later. Tim Hortons is Brazilian. Okay, so maybe we could get away with the other thing about this is, though, it's not only just is the company owned by a corporation that's not American, it's also where do they source their materials and what do they do and how much of their operation has any kind of connections to America is what I'm saying. So I wouldn't trust most of the chains at this point. I would go smaller businesses, like more localized chains that are just within Canada. And then also, if you can, go to specialty one singular kind of places like mom and pop stores, mom and pop restaurants in your area instead, because they're more likely to be more localized and Canadian oriented in general. Some of it is like you don't want to be going to restaurants that buy all their food products from the States and they're coming over, even though they're a Canadian restaurant, right? So it's really, there's all the stages of everything that you got to look into. Does this have anything to do with America at all? And you want to find those places that don't. That's why I say go get your gas at Pioneer. Go get your gas at Ultramar. Go get your gas at Husky. Go get your gas at Racetrack. These are all 100% oil companies that are Canadian only, and nowhere else is involved. Nowhere else is involved. Yeah. Let's keep going. Stargate saying exactly, Lex. Bobby Masai, the cheat code. Whether the Raptors get the 9th or the 4th pick, as The Rock would say, it doesn't matter. Exactly. It doesn't matter where the pick is. Bobby Masai gonna get it right, jabroni. So yeah. You know that, all right? He's gonna get it right. They're gonna get it right. Smooth saying Gene Hackman left nothing for his children. Wow. Yeah, and he had like $80 million too. Yeah, $80 million. $80 million in his fortune. And yeah, totally cut out. Nothing. Nothing. I don't even know where that money went. I mean, seriously. You're saying that you think pretty sure he donated everything he had to charity. There you go. That may be where it went. Okay, Cass. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. It is what it is. Everybody's different. And I mean, that's crazy. Like that's sad in some ways that a family could be so ripped apart that first of all, the father doesn't want to leave anything for his children, and then second of all, the children don't even want to come collect his body to bury it. That is just really sad, man. It's crazy. Stargate saying, I make my own pasta sauce. I don't buy that pre-made sauce. There you go. All right. Grow your own tomatoes and make your own. Well, you may want salsa, though. Maybe you make your own salsa, too. Maybe you want hot sauce. I don't know. People like to make this stuff. I'm just saying, if you don't have the ability to make this stuff yourself and grow it, this is a great Canadian brand to buy. Neil Brothers is 100% Canadian on their pasta sauces and their hot sauce and their salsa. I've had the salsa and the pasta sauce, both very, very good. I haven't tried their hot sauce, though. I can't vouch for it for sure. I'm sure it's probably pretty good. Now, let's see. Tristan Trey saying Kelly is definitely a better 4. Good to see a hard-fought win. Yeah, that was fun. Good to see you in the chat last night. Smooth saying, now we'll do the classic card soon, Trevor, I promise. Kaz, that's like Shaq. He said for his children to get his money, they have to prove they can do something worthwhile. Don't just loaf off of him. Yeah, and that may be some of it too. Is like the parents want the child to achieve something, and it may not be like huge financial stuff. They just want to see them do something worthwhile with their life. Like maybe there's something that's giving or something that's really helpful in certain ways. Some people want to see their kid just succeed and be super successful, and they push them that way and say, no, we don't. It's part of keeping them hungry in life to go get stuff. I get that. But also at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to comment on this too much. I get the different sides of it, but in some ways, I feel blessed in some ways that my family's very together. Let's just put it that way, and that there's no rifts like this in my family. Thank God, because it's ugly and it's sad, and in some ways it's tragic. It's a tragic thing that Gene Hackman was not cool with his children when he died, and that it's like this at this point. Tristan's saying Jacoby's been great. I agree with that. Kaz is saying Darko isn't going anywhere. Laugh my ass. That's all the hockey fans. Yeah, they're idiots, and they only look at record. They don't understand the reality of what we're building here. And like I said, it was insulting to me when I saw there were odds on there for Taylor Jenkins to become the next head coach of the Raptors next season. Yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. Some people already wanted to fire Darko to hire Mike Brown. I'm like, fuck that. We don't need Mike Brown around our team. We don't need Mike Brown. We got Darko. And I'm telling you, Darko's a badass, man. He's a badass. Stargate saying, thank you, Kaz. I'm glad you said it first, because if I said it again, it would sound like a broken record about this stuff to charity. I'm not even totally sure. It's okay. Either way. Smooth saying Darko needs time. He's a good coach. I agree with that. And, I think in the 2 years, he's done a lot, and he's really proven a lot already. So he's gotten more leash as far as I'm concerned. Carlos saying we're going to win 30 games this year. I believe that. Yeah, well, only 3 more to get to 30. Fiercely saying Nurkic coming off the bench. His downfall needs to be studied. I don't know if it needs to be studied. I mean, if you want to watch that kind of stuff, watch Stunted Growth. It's a fantastic YouTube channel on how NBA players mess up their careers. And, well, there may be a Joseph Nurkic episode coming out at some point, Fiercely. So if you like this, and you want to study this kind of stuff, watch that channel. They will tell you all kinds of places where NBA players messed up. Kaz is saying, Lex, I heard they fired Jenkins because there was pressure from other teams that their assistant coach, Tumas Asali, was going to get poached. So they promoted him before they lost him. That's an interesting take that I hadn't heard yet. Thank you, Kaz, for that information. I can see this being possible. So in some ways, maybe it maybe does have to do with Darko, because they learned already that maybe Rajakovic was going to be the incumbent for Jenkins. And, well, they saw the Raptors poach him a couple years ago, and they're like, man, well, our next guy is this guy. And they're already talking about poaching him. There's a lot of legs to what you're saying here. I still feel like this is fucking stupid, though. because they don't have to worry about them poaching if they have an agreement with him and they say, okay, we're going to let Jenkins coach the rest of the year, but on the down low, you're going to take this job after, and we're going to hire you. And then they don't have to worry about it, and they can still go with continuity going forward where they're at right now. Because that's the problem. There's no continuity in this decision. In some ways, this is stupid. And you don't want to do this at this point in the year. It's really it's dumb. And well, I don't think that. I mean, this does make sense to a degree, but it's also like they could probably keep him and just fire Jenkins, or like maybe they were like, oh, we can't fire Jenkins if we're successful, and that we really want to keep this guy's neck. I don't know. It's weird. It still doesn't totally add up, but maybe this does make more sense in some ways of it. Kaz, it's still the timing's not right. Lasalo is supposedly very highly regarded by other teams and was going to get a head coaching job sooner or later, kind of like what happened to Darko. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I appreciate you putting that whole factoid or that part of it into it. Yeah. Smooth saying Yusuf Nurkic will get money in Europe. He should go to Spain. That's probably where he's going next, probably. Fiercely saying Darko understood the assignment, development, and rebuilding the culture and fostering good vibes within the team and staff, everyone working together. Yep. And he's checking the boxes, and he's right on a task. Wayne's saying, great point. Not forgetting or ignoring Grady or Oshai, who we see now are actually a quasi third unit. Incorporate Grady, Oshai, Walter, Shed. There's quality bench. Very good quality bench and variance in it. Variance of different skills and different kind of players. In some ways, you got Battle and Dick, who are both very good shooters that are fantastic to have off of our bench for floor spacing. You can even play them together, and there's no problem with that. And then you get, Jacoby's really emerging as a three-point shooter himself. So, there's some real good promise in our bench players of quality. And they're playing at a certain level of starting because some of them are starting. And that's fantastic. Let's see. Fiercely saying at Cass, if true, it ain't cool. I don't believe in forcing destiny as it may turn sour, but I guess it's a good testament to Jenkins' ability to surround himself with great staff. Darko was with him. Yeah, that's probably true. But I still don't get it. I mean, maybe it's the fight along with this worry and a couple of different things all together to get it to this point. And maybe that they much like with Nick, if Nick probably knew this. And that's part of the reason why he totally submarined the end of our season and the game against the Bulls and DeMar with DR DeRozan screaming. Nick stopped coaching in that game. I watched him very closely. In the second half, he tanked like we have been tanking lately with like not putting our best team on the court. Well, he decided not to coach in the second half of that play-in game against Chicago. And that's part of the reason why we lost, y'all. On the down low. And that was what I was saying on this channel. Y'all were here. You heard me. Saying that Nick just gave up on the team early in the season, like earlier in the season, a couple weeks ago. And then in the play-in game, he absolutely gave up because he knew that if he won the play-in and he went in the playoffs and had any kind of success, it'd be harder for him to get fired. And the ultimate goal was still that he needed to go to Philadelphia no matter what, because that was the secret plan he had with Daryl Morey. So in some ways, maybe a reverse with the Grizzlies. They saw a recent struggle with the Thunder and a loss and a fight on the bench between two players. And they said, oh, something's wrong with your team right now. We're going to fire you just out of the blue. And maybe there's not even really good reason other than they're internally worried about this coach leaving and getting poached. So they're proactive about it. Maybe. I mean, we're starting to kind of figure out some of the pieces about this mystery firing yesterday. And what the hell happened? We're piecing it together. That's right. Mike's saying George St. Pierre is a 5D chess thinker. If known about his MMA career, he's a mental giant and he's humble but focused. I'm not going to say the man is super book smart. I'm not going to say the man's an intellectual, but the man understands competition, drive, and staying focused. And that's what he brings when he comes and talks to the Raptors. Mike, good to see you. Project Truth always, Mike. Good to see you, man. Randolph saying, weekend blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang. You are in the fight of your life. If you are in the battle, survival is the name of the game. Fight to win. Wow, there you go. God forbid that we're all, any of us, put in any kind of situation where it's life or death or any kind of crazy ass shit. But there's high chances of this kind of shit happening. partly because the way the world's turning into a right-wing fascist ideology by really disgusting rich people. And in some ways, we may need to be ready to fight to survive, like Randolph's saying here. And in some ways, we're going to stay together as a family on here, hopefully, and a community will bond us and communication and a lot of different groups of everybody and everywhere and communities and neighborhoods and cities and towns all over Canada. We need to be ready just in case. And communication, just like the Raptors, is important in community also. So to be ready. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. God forbid anything horrible or any kind of thing happening, but we need to be vigilant and ready, just like Randolph's saying. Most saying, I got an Ingram jersey from the team, y'all. Yeah, apparently the Raptors and MLSE have gifted Monique a Brandon Ingram Raptors jersey last night while she was at the game. That's fantastic. She's got quite the collection already. But now add that number 3, the BI3, notoriously. That's right. Mo, that's awesome. I love that too. Mike's saying, ooh, that's super sweet, Mo. What kind? Which one is it? Yeah, which color? Which is it? Which Raptor jersey? Which one? Is it a city edition? Is it the red one, like the manual one you got? Is it a black one? Is it a white one? Yeah. I've decided going forward in my life, I'm gonna tell people if you're buying any clothes from me or you want to buy me any kind of thing, it better be red and black. I'm sick of it. I don't want to wear green, blue, or anything anymore. I want to wear my colors for my team. And that may sound crazy and like I'm in the East LA and I'm in a gang or something like that. But I just find that I'm so superstitious at this point that I don't even want to wear blue underwear when I play a team like the Charlotte Hornets. Seriously. Because I'm like, I don't want to be supporting them on the down low. So I'm like, I have to tell anybody who wants to buy any clothing from me. And while I'm buying clothing for myself, it's got to be red and black. It's got to be Raptors colors at this point because I can't be wearing the other team's colors. I wear green. I feel wrong. I really do. It's weird. It's very weird. It has to be Raptors colors for me at this point because I guess it's part of my autism and my superstition is I don't want to support any other teams vicariously by wearing teal or blue or green. It's kind of crazy. I'm at that point right now. It's crazy. But I will be transitioning more and more to just red and black clothing. Let's see. Randolph's saying, Lex, John Morant reportedly complained about Grizzlies offense before Jenkins firing. Our coach has our team playing good winning basketball. Yeah. Yeah. Ja didn't see the same vision as Jenkins is what they're reporting, but I don't feel like that's exactly what happened. I don't know. It may be part of the puzzle, though. Wayne's saying, agreed. Our point is not to outlose any other teams. Continued development. Yeah. I think that in some ways, that's why I was making such a big deal about being 7th and sticking in the 7th position is because when you're in an island away from other teams in the standings, there's no competition between like losing or winning. If you have some wiggle room either way, you can win and lose as you wish and just full out try and win. And I like that position better than being right up close to the Nets and the Sixers and trying to out lose them. It's just not the right kind of energy. And Wayne's exactly right. Yeah, yeah, red and black. So they got the red and black and the normal. This one. It's this one. It's this one. I'll bet. It's this one. My Scottie jersey that I wear for every game. That's right, Barnes. Let's go. Let's go. That's that one that she got. I'm pretty sure. Mike saying, nice. The one from the presser. That's sweet. And Kaz saying, Mo, that's awesome. I'm so jealous. Mo's just living that life. This year's been a dream year for her. Like I said, her birthday party was off the chain. And ever since then, she's had so many good events, things happening with her. Thank you, Kimberly, for all you do in Monique's life. You're a good friend and all the stuff. And Jennifer, you're awesome too. There's a lot of great people in Mo's life, and I love that she went to the We the World thing. Everything that's been happening this year for her has been fantastic, and she's been around a lot more closer proximity to the team this year than ever. Honestly, it's been fantastic. It's been a great year for Mo. Very, very good year for her professionally. Very, very good. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Grizzlies versus Lakers would probably mean bye-bye Lakers. I also believe Lex and Stargate. See, she's coming around. She believes. She's not. She's on X-Files with us. She's Mulder and Scully with us. That's right. She believes that this may be some sort of weird manipulation 3D chess to help the Lakers get further in the playoffs. The other thing I noticed recently is a new name has been put on the MVP ladder at the bottom. LeBron. I could see this, and this would totally piss me off, guys. And I could see them doing this, and it's partly because LeBron's near the swan song. I could see them giving LeBron the MVP at the end of the year, just out of the flakiness of knowing he's going to retire at some point soon, and this may be the last good chance to give him an MVP. I could see them screwing over SGA and giving LeBron the MVP this year. And they'll rationalize it because the Lakers are actually kind of a decent team high in the Western Conference standings. And they'll do it partly in honor of his whole entire longevity, guys. I could see them doing this, even though I don't agree with it. And I think it'd be so full of shit. And it would just show the NBA kissing the Lakers' ass once again, and LeBron specifically. But seriously, they've entered him into the MVP race again as number 5 on the rankings for the NBA for MVP. And I could see them doing some convoluted shit and saying, oh, LeBron is the MVP. How can you go against LeBron? He has the most points ever in the history of the NBA. He's the MVP. Just let him have it. And screwing over SGA. I don't want that to be right, but I'm just saying, y'all be ready for this and brace for it just in case. Seriously. Let's keep going. Fiercey saying, congrats for the jersey. Super fan Mo. There you go. And she's putting Mo on blast there too. Mike saying, Giannis and every star is called for traveling. Dribbling rules were so tight. Bobbies haven't changed completely. Bobbies? Boobies? What? No, this is true. And this is something that's been called out by certain people recently. I think Alvin said it too recently, that they're allowing too much traveling in the NBA right now. There's way too much carrying right now. Unfortunately, I think Emmanuel's carrying a lot, but they allow it. He can get away with it. There's a way that Emmanuel does his dribble that's very deceiving. He picks up his dribble in a weird way and holds the ball and runs like 3 steps before he puts the ball down. Have y'all noticed that? I'm not trying to get Emmanuel in trouble, but that's something that he does. It's not that just that quickly is quick. He's holding the ball while he's running, and in some ways he could be called technically for a travel. And there's a lot of players that are doing shady shit with their dribble right now that is actually technically traveling from the old NBA, but the refs are looking the other way. And in some ways, they're not enforcing the traveling calls anymore to a certain degree. They really aren't at this point. I don't want to call out Emmanuel, but he is doing what I just said, just so you all know. Stargate saying one hit from a Mo Lucas or Rick Mahorn or Anthony Mason or Charles Oakley, Giannis would be stunned. Yeah, it would be something different that he has not dealt with in his NBA career. To a level he has, but it's a whole other level that people just do not understand how physical the NBA used to be. It's a little bit more physical in the last year or so, like it used to be, but there was a whole soft ass period that LeBron played in mostly that is not like the NBA used to be. And that's the thing that young people do not understand about the old NBA. They may have been plumbers in your eyes. They may not have looked as athletic and amazing and talented as the players today, but those motherfuckers were tough and they will fuck you up, is what I would say. Maurice Lucas, hello. That's more in that time frame back then. But those other guys you named are more in 80s and 90s. Yeah. So we're saying Lakers have a very tough set of games to close, though. Good. And I hope they lose home court advantage and they have to play in Memphis in the first round. I really do. Fiercely saying, regardless, accents are a beautiful part of our personalities, and it's called culture. Rudy Gay, ignorant trash, who clearly doesn't travel abroad in various countries. Yeah, he's just showing that he's an idiot, honestly. It's like, seriously, man, just go ahead and show us how ignorant you are by opening your mouth and just talking out your ass. Seriously. Yeah, some people say that about me. I get it. I am kind of talking out my ass. I am an idiot. I'm okay with that. But I am not ignorant. At least I'm aware and not acting like Rudy Gay. Logical saying, with no 3-second rule, there's a wall every play, and Giannis can't Euro step travel. Laugh out loud. Bron and Giannis ain't getting to the cup the same. Pirtle's floater would work more, though. That's interesting. That's what Mike says if these guys were playing in the 70s. That's interesting. Mike's Fiercey's got that cutoff again. I appreciate it. Raptors superfan Mo the Great, sorry, gave us the cutoff, but the stream is too lit. Yeah, and I'm over 3 hours. It's officially a Lexathon, guys. That's fine. I got time today, so it's okay. Reggie's saying Grizz, Rockets for 2, and Pelicans and Oklahoma City for 2, Mavs and Trailblazers. Okay, I don't even know what that is. Are you talking about the Lakers schedule? Is that what that is? I don't know. Trevor's saying you guys are wrong. Wealthy people do wear designer clothes, but you will never know the name brand. I know that from being around them. Yeah, often it's like, all right, they do wear designer clothes, but they won't be so ostentatious with the name brand, like logos being all over it. But also, there's also a saying it's kind of contradictory what Trevor's saying. Some rich people don't spend their money on clothing and give a shit about that. Some of them dress like bums. Like you could see somebody who's super, super rich and they will be wearing just ordinary clothes and you wouldn't even know that they have any money. Sometimes the very richest people do not dress ostentatiously, but the people that want to be really, really rich will wear the stuff like Scottie does, just to kind of signal it that they have it. But it's the very, very rich people sometimes do not wear any of that kind of stuff. In fact, that's how they're richer because they didn't spend the money on the items. But I think Trevor's right because Trevor works with people that are very wealthy, obviously, in his line of work, and he sees it from the inside and they are wearing special clothes and very expensive clothes, but they may not be so advertised. It may be just they're very finely crafted or well made, and they're expensive, but also there's not a very like bold label on there that they have to show. Is what he's saying here. Let's see. Lakers could drop the seventh or eighth. Oh, I love it. That's music to my ears. I'm sorry I'm such a Laker hater. In some ways, I might like the Lakers again when LeBron's gone. And maybe it is LeBronto. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Stargate saying we don't have any of those big tough guy players in the league anymore. The closest we have to those guys in Detroit is Duran and Stewart. Trying to think of any more. Isaiah Stewart's that type of player. He is. Isaiah Stewart is that type of player from the throwback. I would say if I'm talking about on our team, Orlando Robinson is kind of this kind of player, guys. Seriously, he's not backing down from physicality, and he's really throwing his weight around in a physical way, in an old school kind of way. So I would say on our team, he's the closest. I mean, Yak is too on the down low, Scottie a little bit too. But that's what I'm saying. There's not a whole lot of players like Charles Oakley in this league anymore. But Isaiah Beef Stew he's one of those guys. He is one of those guys still. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Stargate saying, sorry, Lex, my 7 comment wasn't meant for you. I was being sarcastic. I know exactly what it means. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter. It's not important. Messiah and Bobby are going to cook regardless. I completely agree with you. And you're okay. I thought that you were just being sarcastic and joking around. Well, I'm going to read the comments straightforward as a straight forward kind of like way and answer them because that's all I can do. I can't read sarcasm. I'm sorry. I really can't. I can't in real life half the time either. Stargate saying 7, 8, 4. It doesn't matter. We're going to get the best player possible in any position. Fuck the numbers. I know. And that's why in some ways we're not going the route like the Nets and the Sixers. It's because they understand this and they have confidence in themselves. And they know that ultimately the ping pong balls will decide exactly where we are anyway. So yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, Stargate, and thank you for elaborating on what I was confused about there. He's saying also we have a myriad of wings available in our system right now to choose from. Walter, Grady, Battle, Oshai, Roden, Lawson. Add another wing via the draft. It would seem moot at this point, and we need some size. Yeah, completely agree with all that. You just named a great plethora of choices for the Raptors for next year, and I think Roden and Lawson's emergence made this even more so that we really don't need to look at wings for this draft. We really, really don't. Like I said earlier, AJ Lawson has a path to be on the Raptors full time next year because he's that kind of useful and valuable, honestly. Nins is saying 3-hour stream. Let's go, Nins. Nins holding it down in Philly for us. We'll play Philly tomorrow, and I know Nins will be watching that game for sure. All right, let's get this box out, guys. I refilled the box with some new cards because it was getting a little empty in here. So we got some new cards from different section in the box. We'll see what we get. Okay, we'll do this. This is goofy. We'll do this. Okay. All right, guys. This is the card of the day. First person to write in the full name answer will get the Raptor Freak player points. Remember, full name answer matters. Don't put half the name in and then somebody will seagull you. You don't want them to seagull your French fry while you're not looking. All right, so here you go. I'm going to put it up close. It's shiny. I'm trying not to get the shine on there from the screen, but it's hard. See if you guys can figure out who that is. Write it in as soon as you know. Who's that behind him? Joe Ingles? That's a good guess, Nins. It's the right team, but it's not the right player. That is not Joe Ingles. I'm trying to put it up close. Who's that behind him? Is that Patrick McCaw behind him? It looks like Pat McCaw in the picture behind him. I think it is Patrick McCaw behind him. We're going to play Patrick McCaw today. There you go. You want it, you got it. You didn't spell it exactly right, but I'll give it to you, Mike. It is Bogdanovich. Of course, he was on Detroit and got traded to the Knicks last year, and then he got traded from the Knicks. And I don't even know where he is right now. Bogdanovich. It's not the one in Atlanta. It's the other guy, the balding guy. Yeah, Mike's going to get it. I'll give it to Mike today. And we'll give it, it's just 100 because he's a current player. And in some ways, it's not that hard, honestly. Bogdanovich. And it's Logical Raptors Fanatic today. Good job. I like to see different names on the chart for getting the classic card. There you go. 100 points from Mike. Getting the recent card of the day, not the classic card. That's right. That's Trevor Ariza behind him. Okay, I got it wrong. That's not. That is actually Trevor Ariza. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I saw the 0 and I was like, is that Pat McCaw? I think you're right. But speaking of Pat McCaw, we'll go into the rundown for today real quick. There is a Raptors 905 game. It's the last game of the season today at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to watch that game with me, I'll be in YouTube watching it in the chat, and we can talk during the game. The referees for that game today, the last game of the season for 905, Patrick O'Connell, number 73, is the crew chief. Cameron Garber, number 33, is the referee, and AJ Ganelli will be the umpire today, number 62. The blue coats feature Jeff Doughton Jr., Jalen Hood-Schifino, Patrick McCaw, and the brother of Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley. They currently have the exact same record as the Raptors 905 in the G League, 13-20. And, well, I called it as this when I started the stream earlier. This is our championship. Raptors 905. Let's beat the Blue Coats. This is what we did in the very beginning of the season. We had our first game against the Blue Coats, and I believe we won. Well, we had our last game of the season against the Blue Coats. And, well, let's win this one. This is like goal for the gold. Let's just beat them with our record and be 14-20 and put them at 13-21 after the end of the season. This is nothing else. This is no tomorrow. Jared Roden, this is your last game with the 905 for the season, and we'll see you on the Raptors very soon. Eugene Omoruyi, play all out, man. There's no tomorrow. Y'all try and win this game for Andrew Jones and leave on a good note away in Delaware. This game is in Delaware. It's not here in Mississauga. So let's have some pride and close out on a win. Raptors 905. Do it for Coach Jones and get that W. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's Boyan. Yeah, it is Boyan, Tristan. And somebody got it already. And well done on 3 hours. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, I don't feel that bad right now. Once again, we're reacting to the Raptors win over the Hornets, 11-point victory. 5 stars of the game for me were Jakob Poeltl, Scottie Barnes, Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jacoby Walter. Y'all, once again, my product today, my Canadian product today is a pasta sauce by Neil Brothers. Neil Brothers are from Aurora, Ontario. This is completely 100% Canadian pasta sauce, and they also do hot sauce and salsa. So if you want a Canadian alternative for these kind of products for pasta sauce, hot sauce, or salsa, Neil Brothers is your Canadian equivalent that you can buy at the grocery store. So ask for Neil Brothers. It's a very good local product, y'all. We should endorse and support. Let's see if there's any breaking news on Blue Skies before we get out, just in case anything is interesting as far as things. No, not really. There's Michael Grange is talking about Cole Schwider. He's saying that he cannot translate his shooting from college into G League into the NBA, and that he's not doing that a good job. Let's see what Raptors Reddit is saying. They've got let's see, what is this first thing on there? It's like, can we talk about how impressive Jamal Shed has been this season? That's a great thing to talk about. Raptors Reddit, I like that. Masai Ujiri was spotted in Belgrade, Serbia, according to Raptors Reddit. So he's over scouting somebody over there right now, guys. And then they got Shed with the chain, back-to-back rookie chains between Mobo and Shed. I like that. And also they got our court from last night on Raptors Reddit saying this court is top 2 and it's not number 2. I agree with that. Lots of fun stuff on Raptors Reddit. They're behaving pretty well. No, wait, there is a birthday today, guys. and it's a sad one. Today's the birthday of Robert Archibald, who sadly died at a young age, a Scottish basketball player who formerly played for the Raptors. It's his birthday today. So we remember Robert Archibald today as a former Raptor. It's his birthday today, guys, even though he has passed away at a very young age, at the age of 40, guys, which is sad. All right, y'all, let's get out of here. I appreciate everybody watching a long Lexathon, a Raptor stream. We got 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's like old school there, man. Was I talking slower? Maybe we just really covering things in depth here. Chris comes here. He came in late right at the end. I like a lot of the Raps decisions when it comes to the T. I'm not into tanking, but clearly they picked that route. Problem is they didn't do it right. No reason for Philly and Brooklyn to pass us on the odds. Yeah, there is. There is a lot of reason, Criscom. And listen, people can say we kind of were half-assed about things this season. I don't care. And once again, I hate the sentiment that is being put out by certain people in the media that is really stupid. And it's nothing that actually used to exist in the NBA. It's so dumb. The lottery was never something that you valued or wanted to be involved in. It was always a bad, bad place to be because that meant you were one of the worst teams in the league. And this tanking issue is going to be rectified and it's going to be fixed. And the way the Raptors are operating right now is smarter for the future than what Philadelphia and Brooklyn just did because they're going to have a harder time in the future. I hate that some reporters and media figures are telling the public right now, what's the point of having a losing season if you don't get a high draft pick? Nothing is guaranteed in this world. Nothing. That is what fucking privileged ass people that just expected things handed to them believe that kind of shit. No, there is no guarantee that if you're a bad team that you are allowed to just get a high draft pick. Seriously, that was never a thing back in the day because the draft is not totally a sure thing. It never has been. And that's why I have such a problem with everybody putting an overimportance on the draft because these draft prospects, even Cooper Flagg, none of them are a sure thing. And I'm sick of people telling me that we should be losing more and more just because we deserve a high draft pick because we lost so much, we deserve it. Bullshit, motherfuckers. This world is not fair. And people need to understand just because you tank out and you do shitty doesn't mean you deserve a top draft pick. And all these writers keep saying this shit. I'm not saying that I don't want it. I'm not saying that we should get it. We do want to get it. But I'm saying the whole idea of the entitlement that the media puts out that if you're a bad team that you deserve to get a high draft pick or what's worth doing it, that's not the way the world works, you dumbasses. There's going to be bad teams every year. There's going to be 10 teams that don't make the playoffs every year. And those teams are not all guaranteed to get a high draft pick. Somebody's going to lose out. And I'm just saying, it's stupid. They train people to be let down by using certain words like saying, oh, we're so bad. Well, you're going to take the time to be bad all year. We damn for sure deserve a high draft pick. No. And I'm not saying I don't want one. I'm not saying that, we deserve. We were bad this year. Bad teams should not be rewarded. And that's part of what Jack Armstrong's been saying about the Washington Wizards. So I hate this mentality. And I feel like in some ways, no offense to you, Criscom, in some ways I'm getting keyed off from your comments on this, but this mentality is the wrong way to look at it. The right mentality is what's been already said on this chat before you came here, Criscom. And that is we trust Bobby Masai that no matter where we finish in the ping pong balls in the lottery, we will get the best pick available, whether it's the first, the fourth, the 8th, or the 10th pick. And there's no guarantees when ping pong balls and chance are involved that, you just deserve this. I'm sick of people at the Score, at Sportsnet, at TSN promoting this mentality and saying, well, Leo said it over and over again. Well, if we're going to be bad this year, we damn for sure better get the draft pick or it's a failure. That's bullshit. You can be something different. You can have a bad year and develop your existing talent and kick ass and come back next year and be a playoff team without even needing the draft pick. That's what I'm going to say on this. I'm just sick of it. We're not entitled people where we just, we get this because we were so bad. No, we're professionally good. And Masai and Bobby are professionally good at their jobs. And the skill and the aptitude and the intelligence of them is what gets us in the right place with this. It has nothing to do with ping pong balls. It has nothing to do with the draft itself. It has to do with the personnel of the Raptors front office. And that's the only thing that has anything to do that matters about the end of the season. And that's why we can afford to play our rookies and Orlando Robinson at the end of the game last night and still win and still get development and still check off a lot of boxes. Because at the end, when we get to the draft, we got Masai and Bobby making the phone call about who's coming to our team. That's it. Mic drop. Boom goes the dynamite. And anybody else is talking about the draft in any kind of aspect, in those other kind of ways, needs to shut the fuck up, because we got Bobby and Masai, and that's all we need in this situation. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. One word, Zion. There you go. That was funny. There's a clip of Manuel in high school that was out, and Trevor posted it in our chat. It was amazing. I'd never seen this. It's like Emmanuel in high school, and you can see him going through his senior class, and like he's becoming more known, and you can see the humbleness and the amazingness that Emmanuel is as a character. But he's sitting in the lunchroom with his friends as a senior in high school, and they're all talking about the draft that just happened. And they're like, "Oh, Zion, we all thought Zion was the best." And Emmanuel's like the only guy saying, "I'm the only one who didn't believe in Zion, and y'all were all believing in Zion." It's very interesting. But I'm just saying, the draft is the draft. The draft is going to be what it is, and I don't care where we pick, because I trust in Masai. And that's just the basic thing right there. I'm not going to nitpick about this. I'm not going to get upset. I don't want to play tanking games like Jordi Fernandez and Nick Nurse are. I don't want to play tanking games like them. We're getting so much valuable stuff in this stretch run at the end of the season in development for Jamal Shed, Jonathan Mobo, and Jacoby Walter. It's damn for sure worth it, not having just a little bit of extra odds better than the Nets and the Sixers and them falling below us. In fact, the irreparable damage that they're doing to their franchises, the psyche of their players, and their losing culture, losing out like this, is going to be much harder to deal with next year than what we're doing to build up ourselves for next year. We're going to have a nice starting spot coming out healthy, and hopefully with Brandon Ingram in the lineup. So that's what I say like that. Yeah. Chris Kim saying, all good. I appreciate your opinion. I really like the roster moving forward. I'm with you, Chris Kim. I'm not, this isn't like a diatribe against you. This is more me taking the you gave me the remembering of me reading something in a Score article that Trevor posted in our chat yesterday. And at the end of the article, the guy Joseph, or whatever his fucking dumbass name is for the Score, wrote at the end, the very end, he said, it'd be a shame for the Raptors to have a really bad year and not get a high draft pick because of it. Why does it matter? It doesn't fucking matter. We picked at 19th last year and we got Jacoby Walter. That's what I say to these people, man. That's what I say to them. Shir Khan's here. Shir Khan is here. Good to see Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year from a couple years ago. Shir Khan. He's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Long time no see. Just had to drop in for a sec to say that I like the fact the Raptors are not blatantly tanking, and alternating starters cause development triumphs and any prospect in the top 10 pick. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of doing both. And that's why Josh Lundberg was saying, pick a lane, Raptors. You're going to develop them, or you're going to try and tank out and lose? Well, we're doing both, and we're going to be fine for it. And we will get to eat that cake and have it too. Trust me, Josh Lundberg, we will. It's because I trust in Bobby and Masai. That's right. Chris comes saying, last thing I got, best defense since the All-Star break. Freaking impressive. I love that too. Wasn't that cool, Chriscom, to see them at the top of the Goldsberry chart as far as the number one defense in the last 10 days? The Raptors defense has been humming and so good. I love you, Chris. I don't want you to think that my diatribe just now was directed at you. It was really more about the whole sentiment of the idea I was just talking about. That's all. Shir Khan saying Philly and Brooklyn culture is taking a big hit, and nobody would want to go there either because they don't have great management either. Yeah, he's exactly right. I mean, that's the one thing, too. We're weathering the storm with our coach and our front office and showing that we're a quality place and we're attractive to come to. I don't think Philadelphia is very attractive to go to this offseason. Seriously, I don't think it is. And the Nets are a mess. The Nets are at ground zero, starting over with their franchise completely at this point. They really are. Yeah, all love, brother. I love you, Chriscom. And, hey, you have a prediction for tomorrow? Will we sweep the Sixers tomorrow and get the season series 4-0 over Nick Nurse this year, I'd love it. Let's do it. Let's go. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Let's go, Raptors. I appreciate everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel, and you can get access to our Facebook chat during the game, and where we're always talking and sharing all of our information and stuff we find about Raptors news on an everyday basis all day long. That's right. All right. All the love and the peace in the world to the world, and God save Canada and keep us sovereign and free forever. And to the underdogs and the people that are out there fighting from below, I'm with you, and I fight with you against the oppressors. I'm with you guys. That's right. Shir Khan's saying next year Raps are going to be so good. Not sure about Orlando and Battle coming back, but we have a solid 10-man rotation already. W Stream. Thank you, Shir Khan. Battle's already under contract, so he will be back for sure. Orlando is not, but Orlando's probably going to get under contract this summer, is what I'll say. So, yeah. All right. All the best, guys. I love you guys. Let's watch the 9:05 game, the last game of the season, 6 p.m. YouTube. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for a preview for the last game against the Sixers tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. Let's go, Raptors, always. And, yeah, trust in Masai. Seriously.